Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Herstory Online Summit. This is Gertrude Matcha here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of an amazing panel coming to us from all over the world. Welcome, 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 ladies. What day are we on, Ruth? I feel rather jet lagged, like I've been flying around the world this summit.
We are now on day 10.
Introduce
Huh?
yourself,
Is
Ruth, and
it
then
day
we'll go
10?
around the room if the ladies could introduce themselves as well.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time you are at as you join us for our gosh, I don't even remember what day we are on this.
You're as bad as I am.
But welcome to our December online summit, Her Story December online summit. Thank you for joining us, and you are very welcome.
We had a fascinating day yesterday with women from all over the world. I see Miss Cherie has also joined us there.
Yeah,
Wonderful to have you.
thank
You
you.
introduce yourselves. Tambu, tell everybody where you're based.
Hi, good morning all over the world. Good afternoon. It is evening here in Johannesburg in South Africa. Thank you very much for having me on this program. I'm very excited. It's very warm here in Johannesburg. Look, I'm sure you have traveled across the world because you're in Africa now. So welcome.
Wonderful, wonderful. Cherie, introduce yourself. Tell everybody where you are.
Yes, hello, beautiful ones. I pray that everyone is doing great this day, whatever your time zone around the world. I am actually zooming, whatever in from from Columbus, South Carolina in the USA. And like you, my dear, it is unseasonably warm here for the winter. But yeah, it's me, Sherry Marie. I'm honored to be among you giants today. Really.
Wonderful to have you here. So we will start off with Tambu. Tambu is based in South Africa and we're aware of the time difference. And Cherie, you will speak next. I'll let Miss Ruth introduce her. We will go off stage. Have
Ah, when you want something to download, so just take time. So Tambu, sorry, excuse me, technology. Oh my goodness.
I'm not sure that it's true that we can rely on technology totally because I think humans still need to be behind technology, isn't it, Ruth?
It is okay.
Yeah.
So we welcome Tambudai Glenda Muzenda to our December online summit. Tambu is a seasoned professional and strategist with more than 15 years experience in gender and development working in sub-Saharan Africa with focus on sexual reproductive health and rights, including HIV, AIDS programming, and wellness. She's an entrepreneur with a consultancy, Naxiluva Consulting, based in Johannesburg, South Africa. In 2020, she was recognized for collaborative work in the Africa region by the Desmond Tutu Reconciliation Fellowship on gender and reconciliation with both private and public sectors. She's the co-creator of Uncomfortable Conversations, a concept that works towards through facilitated forums, creating courageously brave spaces for unheard and hidden conversations. This remains a critical area to deconstruct taboos and beliefs due to social conditioning and norms. In her coaching practice, she delves into well being, trauma, and living life to one's fullest potential by facilitating a provocative and evocative thinking space for focused action towards improved performance and outcomes for clients wherever they may be in diversity. She loves documenting stories of change and knowledge production of our realities. She's one of the authors in Township Girls, the crossover generation, available on Amazon and Weaver Press. Director of the Healing Garden and I Pandemic, all on social justice. Tambu, welcome. to our tribe, and thank you for joining us.
Ruth, thank
The
you very
stage
much.
is all yours.
Ruth, thank you. I'm so grateful to be here on the Herstory Online Summit. I'm really excited because it's such a time when we are all sort of winding down. But I think I wanted to speak to wellness tonight and this morning, this day, and just really get us set. You know, we often resetting, unwinding, resetting, unwinding, but I think I wanted to bring a sort of concern or just maybe a topic that we so often neglect, especially during this festive season. And I wanted to talk about wellness because we look forward to resting, we look forward to being with family, we also looking forward to unwinding. It's been such a difficult and challenging time over the last 2 years, to be honest. I think it's been such a, a moment of reflection, sometimes just even surviving, because there has been time to breathe. We have been masked on, we have been sanitized, we have been over, restricted to many spaces that we've often been able to be in. And I think that when I want to speak tonight, I want to just speak about wellness because it's something that we may have neglected, not by choice, but because virtue of the realities that we faced with COVID and now the new variant that is on in South Africa in particular, all over the world. I wanted to talk about wellness because it's such an important component of our survival or living. It is part of our wellness, it is part of our living that I think at this time we need to be cognizant of that. I wanted to talk to the 8 dimensions of wellness, but I think I want to dwell to the physical, emotional, and spiritual because it's such a time for being with family and thinking about what do we want to celebrate this year as we end the year? What are we celebrating? What were our achievements? What were our, most important things that we undertook? And we also had so many losses in families, and that brings a lot of emotional turmoil, that brings such grief at such a time to celebrate and to know that we also don't have families. But it also speaks to the physical wellness where we're thinking about what are we going to do together? Where are we going to go? Are we having enough exercise? Are we having enough water? I think we have been sanitizing so much. We may have forgotten to actually just be in the water, just washing our hands, just regularly without the reprimand of actually worrying about our health and thinking about what else do I want to do today? And in fact, when you think about the physical, we have been living in a time where we just constantly asked to abide by the rules, follow the rules, and sometimes we feel constrained that there is nothing else that we want to do in our own will. And that has become the norm. But I also wanted to just sort of remind us that we do have choices to be able to go out in the garden if you have a small garden, to go out into the parks, continue to wear your masks, continue to carry your sanitizers because exercise is important. We need the fresh oxygen because we masked on all the time. It is such an important issue to do. It's such an important part to just dedicate yourself to do so. And then I wanted to speak to emotional wellness. It's been a very difficult time for most people with loss of jobs, with loss of family members, loved ones, some who are unwell, but at the same time, to celebrate life, the least that we have. And such a blessing it is at this time, isn't it? And I wanted to just share how could we maybe even begin to think about our emotional wellness and surrounding ourselves with the goodness that we can afford, the goodness that we have at hand. Nature is good to us. So our environment becomes our sort of go to, to re energize, to rejuvenate ourselves because we are now faced with nature actually, because a lot of the times we're indoors, we have the masks, we have the sanitizers in our hands and all sorts. So going outside and just really finding a place to emotionally unwind, to just be with nature, that is so important. And most importantly, seeking support with those who you with, who can support you through this time, calling on your pastors, calling on the church, calling on the neighbors that we've often not seen on many days. But sometimes it's actually just a call away to just say, I need help. I'm struggling. I just need somebody to talk to. Social media is rife with all sorts of things going on, but sometimes quietness quietens the emotions to bring you to a place, maybe to reflect, reconfigure life, re strategize, and bring ourselves into ourselves. Sometimes we have been so busy, but that moment perhaps is just a quietness, a sacred place where we can find comfort. But at the same time, if we are not feeling comfortable with the self, then we also want to find a friend, a sister, a brother, a colleague whom you trust to speak to and say, this is what I'm going through. Can I just have a shoulder? Can I just have an ear? And that is so important. And I wanted to speak to spirituality because at such a time, we are faced with uncertainty. And when we are faced with uncertainty, sometimes we don't even know where to turn to. And for myself, I turn to my spirituality where my beliefs begin or keep me at a place where I'm rooted in my God. And I go there to nourish myself. I take time to meditate. I find verses in the Bible that enrich me. I worship with other sisters, brothers. I find friends who share the same sort of ideas about what I want to do, what I am doing. I have so many projects that I'm doing this year. I can tell you how much I have been writing because that has been a source of my spirituality. I release myself through my writing. I release myself through my garden. I release myself through new products that I've been making for the skin, for the hair. And that has really brought me such peace. And it's been a gratifying and satisfying journey because I spend so much time with myself and my daughter at home. We take time to experiment with cinnamon and brown sugar. We do scrubbing on our skin. We see that it's working so great, and we continue and we have fun. So, those are some of the things that really bring a spirit of love, care, and giving with each other. And when we can, we go and see my sisters, we go and see other families that are close by. Of course, managing to stay safe and continue to remain loving to ourselves and to others. But most importantly, around that is to be gentle with ourselves. The harshness and the hardness of the environment or outside of ourselves has maybe even caused us to be so cautious we can't even smell the flowers anymore. And I wanted to remind us that it is okay and it will pass. And for a moment, just to be gentle on ourselves and to have self care. I've thought about a bucket list for myself, and it might be useful for you of the things that you just want to do, small things. Maybe just going to plant a seed in the garden. Maybe you have some old beans in the house that you're not cooking, that is sort of, deshelled. Go plant it in the garden, see if it will grow. Get a new hobby. Spring cleaning is upon us. Do that because it is so good for the soul. It is just a new season for us to gear ourselves for the newness that we're in, the abnormal, the new abnormal, they call it, right? Or the new normal. Whatever it is for you, be gentle. Find something you love to do and breathe. The times that we're living in are so hard. But tonight, this morning, this day, wherever you are, I wanted you to just take a deep breath and release the goodness. Take a deep breath in and release the goodness into the atmosphere. For you are the best of yourself. And may life just be for you. And tonight, I'm not only speaking to women, I'm speaking to the world. And so, if this message reaches you, find some gentleness with you. There is a light in there that is just bursting out with kindness, with joy. Bring it out of yourself and give yourself a hug. Be resilient, be optimistic, deal with the hard stuff. They'll pass. And I want to thank you all. Have a great one and be blessed. Thank you so much, Ruth.
Unmute
Mute.
the
The
famous
magic
word.
word for 2021.
Yes.
Unmute. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tambu. Beautiful reminder to all of us to just pause. There's so much going on in the world right now. And yeah, we have to just remember the important things in life, just to really pause. We're getting a few comments coming in from Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much, Jacqueline Walker. She says, such a beautiful soul. Glad to know you. We've got Miriam Bova. Miriam, good to see you there in Sydney, Australia. Another comment from Jacqueline. She's with Miriam. All right, lovely to see you, ladies. And there's another comment. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Lidza, thank you for participating and being here today. So we'll go around the room and just give you some feedback, comments, ladies. Let's come on camera. If you're not on camera, I will remove you from the stage. Ruth, give us some feedback.
What a timely reminder too. Um, Tambu, thank you so much. And this is the second year that we've been in this pandemic. And you are so right. We've been masked up, we've been sanitized, we've been washed up, everything, just, following the rules, the protocols of COVID. That's sometimes I know in the first year it was very scary to go out, like they said, lockdown. And we really locked down, you couldn't even go out of the gate. For some reason, it was like this thing was waiting just beyond your walls to catch you if you go out. And then I know with the new variants that are also being announced that are coming through, then there's that fear again. So thank you so much, Tambu, that you're reminding us that we can really step out into our own gardens or into our own spaces and meditate and just breathe, smell the roses, and recharge, rejuvenate. Thank you so much.
You're most
Wonderful.
welcome, and thank you for all the comments that came through. Thank you very much.
Cherie, give us some feedback, comments, questions you might have for Tambu.
Tambu. Wow, that's my first comment. I love your your heart, the way you shared the way that you stay centered, and the tips that you gave for us to use with planting. I in fact even planted a garden this year for the first time. And so thank you for your insight. That was really, really, really wonderful.
Thanks so much, Cherie.
You're
Miss
welcome.
Selena, introduce yourself for those who didn't know you. You popped in a little bit late. Tell everybody where you are.
Hello, I'm in the UK. My name is Selena Cheshire. I'm a health coach, a writer, a speaker. I'm a mother of two, a grandmother of two. So I'm excited. Thank you so much for talking about water, going out the garden, because that's what I love doing. Or going in nature. It's like today, was it yesterday? I was listening to another, a video. I was watching another video and it was talking about water. People don't realize when you take coffee, you are replacing 3 cups of water. So it's like you need to double that. If you take 1 cup of water, drink 6 cups of water. I mean, to 1 cup of coffee, drink 6 cups of water. That will be, like the cells need it. If you drink coffee, you're making them dry. So
Mm.
I know the value. When I wake up in the morning, I have this 1 liter bottle, warm water, which I put by my bedside, close it in the night. In the morning, first thing, that's what I drink. I start my day. I'm fine, but still, I drink water through the day. And that's what makes me tick. I love it. So thank you so much for that information. It's just like, oh, yeah, that's what we want to hear. And this time of the season, we need it. There's no two way about it. We just need to have that. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Selena. It's a beautiful reminder for us to really stay centered and grounded and present. Because sometimes if we jump too far into the future, we start worrying about things that may or may not happen. If we go back into the past, we go back and focus on things we can't change. So thank you, Tambu. It's been an absolute honor having you. How can people get hold of you? You're a coach. You're obviously helping a lot of people online. Do you have a website, an email that we can share right now?
I do have an email. My email that's easiest is tambu.m@outlook.com. tambu.m@outlook.com. You can reach me quite easily. Thank you.
So tambu.m at outlook.com, correct?
That's correct. Thank you.
Let's see if we can display that at the bottom. So if anybody's interested in connecting with Tambu, that's her email. If you don't see it, inbox me on Facebook. Her Story movement is all about making these magical connections with people. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence this morning. And feel free to stay with us as long as you can. I know it's late in Southern Africa, but you're welcome to hang out with us, participate in these fireside chats as we introduce more speakers for the day. Thanks so much, Tambu. So, without any further ado, I will introduce our next speaker, a beautiful musician who I had the luck of bumping into. I don't even know how we met. I can't even remember. It's been quite a few years ago, but you were one of the first women who responded to my call for speakers for the Her Story movement in 2019. Cherie Marie is an international recording artist, songwriter, and Amazon best-selling author. This powerhouse artist is affectionately known as the Love Goddess and is transforming hearts with music. Her musical style is an eclectic melting pot of soul, including jazz, rock, soul, gospel, blues, R&B, and more. As an international recording artist, author, humanitarian, and transformational speaker, her powerful passion for music has taken her to audiences in England, Russia, Canada, and Japan. Cherie's message of love and dynamic stage presence has garnered her the opportunity to share the stage with Grammy award-winning artists like Patti LaBelle, Al Jarreau, Brian McKnight, Ashford and Simpson, Hootie and the Blowfish, Diana Reeves, and others. Some of Miss Cherie's performances include the prestigious Carnegie Hall with the Peacemakers Choir, performing a vocal score composed and conducted by the world renowned Carl Jenkins, a successful tour in Japan, and she recently returned from an 8 city tour in Russia. Oh my gosh, you've been all over the globe. Her most recent album is called 360 Woman Rebirth, produced by the world renowned musicians Marcus Williams, is being met with rave reviews. Part one of this highly anticipated trilogy is being described as truth serum for your soul because of the raw honesty she expresses in both musical and lyrical content. Cherie feels that it's time to tell your story to help liberate yourself and other women throughout the world. She's recently partnered with Boogie Back Records, a record label based in London, UK, to co write and perform three singles: I Want You Back, Starting Over Again, and Time Waits. This rose to number one on the UK Soul chart, where they remained in the top 20 for more than 12 weeks. Her current single, Time Waits, was also awarded Amazon's number one hot new release on May 17th, 2019. In June 2020, during the devastating global pandemic, her personal pain inspired her to write and release a new anthem called Love is Rising in an effort to spread hope and love to all of us. She's also independently released volume 2 of her 360 Degree Woman trilogy entitled 360 Degree Woman I Am next year. In addition to music, she's written her first book entitled Wealthy Women's Stew: The Journey to Nourishing My Soul, which became a bestseller earlier this year. It is her story of challenge and triumph centered around 8 simple ingredients of a homemade stew, which transformed her life and inspired Cherie to learn to love herself again. Wow. 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 I'm going to share your social media link with this video. The stage is yours, my dear. Thank you for saying yes and gracing us with your presence. We're going to listen to your music when you finish speaking after the fireside chat. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I had to look around and say, who is that? God has blessed me so immensely to be able to do something that I love, that I've loved since before I could remember. But my earliest recollection is age 5. Music has been saving me my entire life. And as you can well imagine, um, growing up, being so enthralled with music, just it got in my DNA. And I didn't even know that I was going to be a musician. Initially, I just was doing what I loved. And I think that that is really important, especially now that we get engaged with what it is we love so that we can find who we are. And my topic for today is love is not love, music is really a musical. Life is really a musical. And the way this happened is because when Gertrude asked me what the topic would be, um, as crazy as it sounds, as I look back through my life, there's been music in every part of it. In the times when I felt really joyful, in the times when I was in a tremendous amount of pain, in times when I was confused, in times when I was just sitting still and being one with nature. There was music there. And I had the most incredible experience when I was in Japan with this amazing Japanese woman. I'd never met her. I probably wouldn't know who she was if I saw her again today. But I was out shopping for some ingredients to make a banana pudding. I don't know how many of you know what a banana pudding is, but it's like a delicacy here in the South, right? In America. And it's made with cream and bananas and cookies and all kinds of yum and vanilla and all kinds of deliciousness, right? And I went upstairs to this grocery store, and as I was standing looking for what cookies I could use to substitute for what I would normally use, this song came on. It was during Christmas time. I was missing my family terribly, and It was a Christmas song called "Let It Snow." Oh, the weather outside is, how does it go? Weather outside is frightful, but inside is so delightful. Ba da 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 da. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Right? So the song was playing. This lady walked up next to me on my right, and neither of us really knew the words really well or at all, even, but we both almost simultaneously started to sway side to side. Da, 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 da. It was playing. We weren't saying anything. Then we chimed in with the melody. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Then we jumped and looked at each other and said, "Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow." And we burst into laughter, right? It still makes me giddy to this day. And we just bowed and said bid each other farewell. But in that moment, I knew that music has, even more so than ever, music is, when we pay attention, is everywhere. And it can be a musical. People will join in who don't know each other with the same dance moves and sing the same song. And that's what I really hope for you as you're transitioning through all of these challenges that you're having. Allow yourself to feel music, not just listen to it, just let it get into your soul. Whatever that music is that brings you joy, that has a really high vibration, that's going to lift you out of any situation that you're feeling. Music will do that for you. I promise you. I promise you. Find a way, find a space, even if you have to just sing it to yourself, sing songs that bring you joy, hum them. I sing when I go to the grocery store. I sing when I go to wherever. If I'm walking down the street, you know, I find a way to bring music into my life. And that would be my biggest tip for you today. When you're standing outside in your bare feet, which I love to do all the time, just getting grounded, being one with nature and allowing the beautiful spirit of everything just wash over you and into you, you know? Listen for the music that's out there. The birds are talking to you. The grass is talking to you. The sun is speaking to you. If the wind, the rain, if you go out in the rain, which I do as well, just to kind of get washed and cleansed and feel closer to spirit, to God, to whatever the higher being you choose to honor, whatever it takes to lift you. The music is there. I promise you that. And so um, if you ever are in a spot where it seems impossible, where you feel like you have no friends, where you feel like you have no one that supports you, um, number one, find help. Find help. There is help out there for you. It's going to take a little courage to get out there and ask for it, but ask for it. And in your process of asking, find some music to help ground you, to help fill that space in you that is in need of healing. And then move through it, because you can do it. We all are here together for a reason in this time. As challenging as it is, we're here. That is not accidental or incidental. We are here because we have something special to offer this world, to offer ourselves, to offer the people around us. And so, do whatever you need to do that is safe, that is healthy, that's going to allow you to breathe again. You can do it. I have had times when I just didn't know how I was going to do it, didn't really want to get up in the morning, just like many of us. And even through the pandemic, being so very isolated and not being able to see my children, and making sure that my parents were well, and making sure that I was okay, challenged me as well. Find the music that will lift you. Life really is a musical. Look for it. It's there. It's surrounding you constantly. And so I pray that these short tips have somehow served you today. My prayers to serve. And I hope that you find joy in all of this because joy is the generator and it will help you move through. Love, joy will help you move through whatever you're going through. I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your time. And I thank you for the opportunity to share this moment in love with you. Be well, my friends. Live love every day. It's a verb.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Before I bring on our panel, we're going to listen to you sing. Thank you for sending me the video.
Oh, you're
I've
welcome.
been having issues with copyright music.
Okay.
YouTube then blocks our videos. So thank you for sending me this beautiful piece of music that we'll listen to now before we get our panel on so we can have a panel discussion. So here we go.
Somebody told you not to be fabulous. They tried to take your soul. Guess what? They lied. You're in control, in control. Somebody said you never be anything. They tried to change your fate. So what? They lied. It's time to shine, time to shine. So shine on. Shine, 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 shine. Ooh, shine on. Shine, 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 shine. It's time to shine. Shine, 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 shine. It's time to shine. Shine, 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 shine.
Did I lose you? Did I lose?
Okay.
Oh, there we are.
Yes.
Thought
Something
I'd
happened.
lost you.
Something happened to our video. So what I'm going to do, we're going to bring the panel on.
Okay.
I'm going to upload the video to YouTube and then we'll play it after the panel discussion. It'll take a few minutes for it to upload.
Okay.
So bring all the ladies on. Ruth, if you can moderate the room. First thing I want to say is thank you for showing up as you this morning.
My honor.
We are needing uplifting. We are needing reminding that life is a musical. You know, my mom died in April last year,
Oh my.
and
Oh my.
music helped me. I found one song in my native language
Mm.
that I played over and over and over. Ruth, you know the song. And it really took me through a very difficult time. I wasn't able to go back to Africa to bury my mom.
Oh,
Life is a musical. Sometimes we have uplifting music. Sometimes we listen to sad music. It definitely carried me to a very, very difficult time in my life. So I get emotional, but thank you for reminding me.
I honor you so deeply in this moment for your transparency, your willingness to share. I'm emotional with you. I feel you. I I do. I feel you. And I am here to support you. I know we all are here to just hold you right now, give you the biggest hug. And, you know, it's moments like this that remind me yet again of the necessity of the work that we as artists do. Because anything that can help you through that is blessed. And, you know, you do such great work such great work. And I'm grateful to know that music helped you make it through and is continuing to help you survive and thrive. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Ruth. I need to compose myself. Let me
All
take
right.
over.
Thank you, Sherry. And really, life is musical. That really, really resonated with me. And
Oh,
and like Gertrude says, there's different seasons in life where music will carry us through. Where um, music, it could be sad, it could be a happy time of your life, but
mhm.
what a gift you have! And when you transformed. When I was watching that video, I was like, no, that's not her. So there's this great transformation when you are the musician, when you're the artist, but
Thank
such
you.
great
Thank you.
talent.
Thank you very
And we
much.
have so many comments on Facebook, but I'll go to those after I've spoken to some ladies. Ladies, your feedback. I'll start with you, Selena.
Ah, that was awesome. I mean,
Oh,
like
goodness.
like Ruth said, the transformation was beautiful. Oh gosh, I thought, oh, Tina Turner is coming back.
This
The
energy.
legend, oh, the legend was back. Oh, that was powerful. Honestly, that's powerful. Thank you so much for doing that for us. That's an amazing. I mean, I love music. I don't sing enough. I only sing in church, but I love it, and I should dance more and do more. I
Oh,
think I think it's just exciting.
thank you so much. Mwah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
So
it's honestly
see,
it's so healing. Thank you.
it is. Sumbo, your feedback for Sherry.
Good morning, ladies. Really great to be here with you all on this space. Thank you so much, Sherry, for talking about music. And I think especially at this time where everyone is going through, incredible challenges of global proportions, music is something that is very soulful. It hits the soul, it hits the spirit. And like you said, like Gertrude, said in love to you, that sometimes we are in situations where music kind of like a language that brings back, sometimes it triggers memories of pain and loss. And but in
Mhm.
doing that, we know that when that happens, we're moving through our healing as well. And sometimes it
Mm,
triggers, memories of fun and happiness. So it
mm,
keeps us grounded, it keeps us connected
mm,
to being. And it's
mm.
so powerful that what you shared this morning. And I told a lady when I saw it, like, oh, is that it looked amazing. And thank you so much for sharing that this morning.
Oh, you are so welcome. Mwah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sumbo. Tambu.
Sherry, you are song, you are music. It's absolutely amazing.
Oh,
Okay,
oh.
the transformation when we sing, it's like having a conversation with the self.
Mm,
I agree and concur with everybody talking about what music does. And music is a place that allows us to have those difficult conversations with ourselves. You find yourself singing off key, that's just great. It's
yes.
singing, okay, I'm not recording anytime soon. But there is something amazing about releasing as we sing about shine. Shine. There is
Mm, yes.
power because when you sing, you are singing to yourself, and whatever the message that comes, whether it brings pain, whether it brings memories, whether it brings joy or happiness, it just allows us to find a place with ourselves and give ourselves permission. We
Mhm.
give ourselves permission through song when we listen. It's I want to listen to that. It brings joy, it brings gratification, it's bringing sadness, but there is something that I'm communicating to the
Yes.
self. So thank you so much. Absolutely love music.
Wow.
I dance a lot of the times. I sing, but like I said, I'm putting a disclaimer. I am not recording it. Okay.
Oh wow,
Um,
Taboo. So much wisdom in that that you shared. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
and Angela, hi, welcome. Good
Hi,
to see you back.
thank you.
Do you have
So
any
sorry,
feedback?
ladies. I just joined probably about 10 minutes ago, I think five
Okay.
minutes ago, just while you're speaking. So
Yes.
I didn't really catch all, so pardon me. Is that you that actually sang the song just now?
Yes,
Oh,
it
that's
is.
awesome.
I,
That's
I
awesome.
actually sang it and wrote it. I wrote it at a time when I was watching a news clip, if I can share this real quickly. And there was a gentleman who had contracted AIDS,
Uh-huh.
and he went to his pastor
Okay.
to for consoling and just for love. And
Okay.
the pastor told him that he was an abomination and he should never have been born.
Okay.
And it broke my heart in so many pieces that particular song grew from there. And so,
Wow.
yes, so "Time to Shine" is very
Yes.
special to me because we
That's
all are here. That's what we're all here to do. So thank you.
yes.
Mm.
Correct. That's really, really awesome. I'm so touched and by your music. And
Thank you.
I was wondering, is that you? Because I just came in not long, so I didn't hear the beginning of the story. So I
Yes,
said that's really amazing. Keep up the good work.
thank
I
you.
believe music is part of the way to bring joy too. Because for myself too, I was a period that I've gone through, the low points, and for me, in the morning, sometimes to lift up my spirit is to, I got this from one of my mentor that,
Mhm.
when you wake up, not just high five yourself, but another thing is to switch on or turn on one of the favorite, music to keep your state going. Yeah, because that
Wow.
will actually keep your, our state is very important. That will keep the whole day, even though morning you might carry what was happening at night and the night before, but when you're on the music it actually keep your, they call it the frequency, the high frequency going on. So this is what actually
Yes.
keep me going. Yeah. I've turned on very very high vibe music to keep me, the spirit going on.
Wow.
And that has really helped me. It's game changing. Keep up the good job, keep up the good work.
Wow. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
love.
Yeah.
Yes, Tiffany, your feedback. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Hi,
you.
ladies.
By the way, I'm from Singapore, so
Ah.
yeah,
What
it's
time is it?
four, it's 4:48 a.m. here.
Oh,
4:48.
Wow.
So I had to
you're
wake
so
up at
bright-eyed
four.
for 4:48 in the morning.
Yeah, I had to wake up at 4
Wow.
a.m. So actually, I slept pretty late just now, about I guess 2 a.m. So I told myself I must set my alarm clock.
Mhm.
So I get up just to get ready and and put some little makeup, and that's how I join.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you for
Oh,
stepping up and joining us. Really,
thank
Thank
really
you
you,
so
thank
appreciate.
much.
you. It's my honor. I'm blessed to be in this tribe. I'm really blessed. I learned so much from your ladies. You know,
Mm,
thank you.
wow. It's
Thank you.
beautiful. So
All
beautiful.
right.
Thank you.
Tiffany, before I go to Facebook, your feedback.
Again, hello, ladies. I am like Angie. I joined a little late. I was actually around my house cleaning up and listening to some educational things, and so I came in a little late. But this is what stood out for me.
Mm,
Um, there was such a grounding and a grace in your voice, and
mm,
even that you weren't raising your voice up, you weren't screaming. There was just passion that was just there. It was underlying, and
I'm a speaker. I listen to speakers. So sometimes I can't stand to hear people because that's what I do. How you hear people all the time. And you're just like, okay, I can't hear another voice. But I can say I was very calmed and grounded listening to you, and I could see the authenticity in your message. And then when you came out with the fierce beat for the children, right? I said, okay. And I said, so it didn't surprise me when you said where that stemmed from, because that's actually, I modeled professionally for 20 years. So the music, I was like, okay, okay. And so then I saw and I heard the first words. I was like, all right. So I just think it was very beautiful that you allowed something that was sad, quite frankly, it was sad, to inspire you to create something beautiful,
Thank
inspire
you.
you to create something, that will bring joy to
Wow.
people. So thank you so much for standing in your authenticity and sharing your talent and your voice.
Oh, thank you so much. Mwah. Thank you, Queen. Y'all just got me all crying over here and excited.
What
Thank
I would
you
like
very
to
much.
to ask though, Sherry, is so
Yes.
did you ever get in touch with a person from the story, from the news article?
No, I didn't know who it was actually on a rather large news station,
Okay.
ABC network, a international station. And so I did not reach out to him. I would love to have had an opportunity. I don't know if he's even still here on earth with us, but I pray that whatever happened to him, that he found peace. And I wish I didn't even get a name. If I had
Oh,
gotten a name, because if I remember correctly, when I got to view the actual um, broadcast, I was kind of catching at the tail end of it, so I
mm,
had missed some information. But yeah, I would love to. I hope he can feel in my spirit wherever he
I'm
is.
sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yes. Thank you for
Okay,
that
so
message.
so we have some comments from Facebook. And
Okay.
Romachi Georgiadis says, OMG, so true, you're speaking, telling my true story. And
Wow.
she says, where are you from, lady? I'm from Pensacola, Florida.
Ah, wonderful. Well, presently I'm visiting my family in South Carolina. So I'm between Atlanta, Georgia, and Columbia, South Carolina. Those are my places of home. So yeah, so I'm in the States.
And Marianne says, I think that beautiful story will stay with me forever now. Let us
Ooh.
know, let us know. Yeah.
Yay!
And Jules Rutledge, I think Jules is in Australia. Yes, Gertrude?
Yes.
She says she is wonderful. And
Oh,
Andromachi says we need to connect this lady and
I'll
write down
connect you
and
with her. She's in the UK. She's a good friend of mine.
okay.
oh wow. Wonderful.
She's also a musician. She sings jazz. You
Nice.
two would really hit
Wonderful.
it off.
That would be an honor. Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Yes. And Sis Gertrude, welcome back. I hope you're feeling better.
Yes,
Ooh,
my love.
You know,
Welcome back, beloved.
you
that's the
touched a
thing.
nerve. You
That's
touched a
the
nerve
thing.
this morning. And the video you sent me, I just checked. It
Mhm.
was only 56 seconds long.
Yes, it was a snippet.
Just a snippet.
Because yes,
Yeah.
because I know how the Facebook rules run,
They
but
won't
it
let us.
is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it would have been great to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
I just didn't want you to have, but it is available. The whole video is available on YouTube. If you go to just search "Time to Shine," Sherry Marie, CheriMaree, it will absolutely pop up. It's there, so you can see the whole thing. Yeah.
okay,
But I
Yes, I
wanted to
awesome.
want
keep you safe. I didn't want anybody to shut you down. So I
Yeah,
said,
they
56
do
seconds.
slam us with copyright infringements, but The song that kept me going, and a lot of the ladies from Zimbabwe will relate to the song,
Mhm.
was sent to me through WhatsApp by a young boy that I found on Facebook. It's
Hmm.
in my native language. I'll play the song, and Ruth, if you could translate it for us.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Daipasina mai vakandichengeta ndiani
Mhm.
daipasina mai vakandichengeta ndiani
Mhm.
ini ndoda kutendaka ndoda kutenda mai vangu vakandirera ndoda kutendaka ini ndoda kutenda mama vangu vakandichengeta ndivo vega mama vangu ka hakuna vamwe ndivo vega mai vangu ka oh, oh. Ndashaya vamwe ndinodada namama ndinovimba namama ndinodada namai vangu ndinovimba namama kwemwedzi mipfumbamwe vakanditakura mama oh. Pandairwara payeye vaimira neni ondinodada namama ndinovimba namama ndinodada namai vangu ka vachira I love my mom.
All right. So
Wow.
we do not own any copyrights to the song. Let Facebook know so that they do not cancel our video. Okay, so the young man is saying, if it were not for my mom, I wouldn't be here. If it were not for her sacrifices and the care that she gave me, I wouldn't be here. And says he trusts his mom, he loves his mom, he's proud of his mom. So that's a song from Batrai Shasha. And yeah, he's a young man who's making waves here in Zimbabwe.
And I was
Beautiful,
able
beautiful
to
song.
sing that song for my mom on her
Yes.
funeral.
Wow.
So Skyped us, Zoomed us in.
Mhm.
I've got a sister in Australia, a brother in Canada. I was in New Zealand. One brother was
Mm.
alone at home burying our mom.
Wow. Incredible.
Thank you for the
Incredible.
reminder.
I
Yeah.
love everything about that. The vibe was so, the instrumentation, the way he sings,
Yes.
you know, I can feel everything. Even though I didn't understand the language,
Understands, yeah.
it's the energy that is so pure. Thank you for the translation. And it's universal. That's how I feel about my mom, you know? So, wow, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And then
Shireen.
just there's some beautiful messages for you, Gertrude. Marianne says, beautiful Gertrude, and she's sending hearts. Jules says, Gertrude is an extraordinary person, and love is what she gives others. So,
Thank you,
really,
ladies.
yeah, that's the thing with grief, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You think you've dealt with it, and then a song, a smell, an aroma would just trigger a memory, and everything just comes back.
Comes back.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Thank
indeed.
you, Cherie. What
You're
a pleasure
welcome.
that you were with
Thank
us
you.
today. Thank you so much.
It's a joy and a privilege, and I'm
Oh,
so grateful to each of you for this opportunity. And Gertrude, you just keep shining, my queen.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
you keep shining. The work that is happening here is transformative throughout the globe, you know?
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you.
so without further ado, we will move on to our next speaker. Ruth, would you like to introduce our next speaker while I move people off stage?
Yes. So our next speaker is Sumbo Ndi. She's a PhD holder and is an author of a new book series, Divine Whispers, which is a collection of uplifting and inspirational poems, thoughts, and prayers. Her writing expresses the hope, love, faith, fears, burdens, dreams, aspirations, and joys of daily living and the journey of finding meaning and living on purpose. Call it a book of contemplations. Divine Whispers is her outlet for sharing meaning making in her inner world with the outside world. In recent times, Sumbo has been contemplating and reflecting on the intersection of faith and spirituality as it echoes in her daily life and her diverse work experience as a scientist, a coach, and a counselor. Sumbo is a former academic and researcher with working experience in infectious diseases and antimicrobial resistance. More recently, Sumbo works in the community services sector and involved in work around several stigmatized issues such as family and domestic violence, FDV, intergenerational conflicts, gambling, blood-borne viruses, and sexually transmissible infections. She's a family and relationships counselor working with individuals, couples, and families. She's involved in domestic violence prevention program for young people and co-facilities a behavior co-facilitates a behavior change program for men who perpetrate violence. She has experience in using primary prevention and community development approaches in engaging men to be part of the discussion and creating a solution to the issues of FDV. Sumbo currently resides in Adelaide, South Australia, with her husband and children. When she's not writing or working, she enjoys cooking and spending time with family and friends. Sumbo, welcome to our tribe, and the stage is all yours.
Sumbo, I'm going to play your video first, or do you want to speak live?
Maybe
Do the
play
video?
the video and then we'll speak.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
Hello, everyone. I feel really excited to be here with you today on the Herstory Women's Global Empowerment Online Summit. Thank you very much to the organizers of this fantastic event for creating the platform where women can come together to share stories, to encourage one another, to cheer one another on as we journey through life, through different challenges, to different victories that we all celebrate, and as we all, live every day to create our stories. My name is Sumbondi, and the story I want to share with you today, I titled it Surprised by a Whisper. Before I continue, I'd like to acknowledge that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, to recognize that we have been gifted with so many resources and that we are custodians or stewards of, if you want to say that. And that brings me to acknowledge the land on which I live and I work. I want to acknowledge the Ghana people who are the traditional owners and the custodians of the Adelaide Plains region where I live and from where I am speaking to you today. I'm not sure which land that you sit on as you listen to me around the world, but just take a moment to think about what that really means, the privilege that you have to be able to live and to work on that land, to be able to be part of the story that is being created on that land, and to recognize that the land in which you live and work, there are stories on that land. Sometimes those stories are pleasant and sometimes they are not. And to recognize that, part of the privilege that we have is that we are able to live here and to work here and benefit from the suffering of the traditional owners of the land. And to recognize that even though we are able to partake of the blessing of the land which we live in, it's not the case with everyone. I guess what I'm saying here is that stories are being created every day. We're living on stories and we are creating stories. So the responsibility that comes with that privilege is to think about everywhere you go, anyone you encounter, to recognize that each person has a story and to be curious about what is it about them. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. So thank you so much for the organizers of this event for giving us the opportunity to be able to share stories. To start off telling you my story, I will open up with a statement that says that within every one of us is the wisdom that knows what we don't yet know. Let that sink in for a moment. Within each and every one of us is the wisdom that knows what we don't yet know. But the thing to recognize about this is that this wisdom, it often comes in that still small voice. And in a very noisy and busy world, this still small voice gets drowned. This still small voice gets ignored. This still small voice gets missed. But if we learn to pay attention to this still small voice, we will be amazed or we'll be surprised at what comes out of it. Part of my story with you today is a surprise for me from a whisper that I got. A few years ago, I would say maybe about 7 years ago, I was putting together a few magazine edition of Queen Inside of You magazine, which I only did 4 issues of that. And that meant for each issue, I was able to write 4 poems, which I didn't think much of it. And for a number of years, those things sat on my computer. I didn't even think about them at all. But then in 2020, when coronavirus hit and we were all at home, I began to experience a lot of emotions. I began to experience a lot of feelings that I couldn't really explain. Sometimes I felt excruciating feelings. Sometimes I felt sadness. Sometimes I felt excitement. Sometimes I'm just reflecting on things. I was going through and experiencing things that I couldn't explain. And sometimes I cried. But I kept praying. I remember my husband would say to me, keep praying there, you know what you're doing. Because often I'll say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on with me. I feel like I'm overwhelmed. I feel lost. I don't know what's going on. He said, keep praying. You know exactly what you're doing. And then one day I felt this still small voice in me says, put words to every feeling, every emotion, every thought that you're experiencing. I'm like, okay. Because the confusing thing for me then was sometimes when I had different feelings, there was nothing externally that indicated that I should be feeling that way. Everything was fine, but I was feeling so many different things at the same time. But when I heard that still small voice that said to me, put words to every feeling, every thought, every emotion. You don't need to understand it, just pen it. So I'm like, wow. It wasn't until then I stopped fighting what was happening to me. I didn't understand it. I couldn't explain it, but I was fighting it. But when this still small voice came, it gave me a purpose for what I was feeling. And I began to write. One poem after the other. One poem after the other. And I would write them. And I would write them. I kept writing until it got to a point I'm like, okay, I've got all of these poems. What do I do with them? And then the next small voice comes, how about put them together in a book? A book of poems. Wow, that's interesting. How do I even go about publishing? I had no clue. Again, I started feeling this, having this experience of fear and overwhelm of not knowing what to do. During the process of writing, something else came up that was another surprise for me, and that was the fact that I had to battle with a lot of self-doubt. That surprised me because generally I felt I was a very confident person in a lot of ways. But in that moment, I realized that in a situation of unknown, my insecurities showed up. In the situation of unknown, fears showed up, doubt showed up. I remember so many times I had to battle through negative thoughts of who are you to think you want to write something? Who's going to listen to you anyway? Who cares to even read whatever you're going to write? And I remember I had to push through and pray through to keep on writing. Sometimes I had to say to myself, I may not understand, but I'm going to keep doing what I need to do. I'm going to keep doing what I need to do. And step by step, I started having more. And the more I wrote, the more that came. I remember when I'd written about 10, I'm like, wow, if I can write 10, maybe I can do 20. Mind you, I had no idea what I was going to write, but I set that goal of 20 after I had written 10. And slowly but surely, I started writing again. And I hit that mark. I'm like, wow, I did 20. So if I can do 20 when I had no clue I could write any poems in the first place, maybe I can do 30. And I kept pushing and pushing and pushing until I have so many. And then I started thinking when the next thing came, put them in a book. I'm like, okay, so what do I call them? What do I name the book? Because these are all different poems. There was no theme, nothing to it. I was just writing. And then again, the still small voice came, Divine Whispers. I said, that made sense. Divine Whispers. So I'm like, okay, if I put this to be Divine Whispers, what am I going to call the next one if I write another one? But I know the still small voice came again. Divine Whispers gonna stay, but each volume is gonna have different themes. Oh, wow. Well, I've written all of these things. Surely, maybe there's not going to be any theme in them. And the voice came again. How about you look through and start putting them together? So I began this next journey of looking through, putting them together, and began to learn about publishing. What do I need to do? How do I go about it? I kept pushing my own boundaries. I kept challenging my boundaries. In the process, I realized I was growing. And I started off writing I feel like I'll put it on writing a surface level. I wasn't being vulnerable. But over time, I started digging deep into all the different emotions and feelings and the fears that were showing up. And I began to write about those things. And I began to write about fear. I began to write about shame and scars and things like that. The other thing that came to me as a surprise is that in that process, while at the end of it, I could think that in a transactional way, when you write, you put things together, you get a product. That's a transactional outcome. So what was my transactional outcome of this process? I got a book of poems being recently published. But much more than that was something else that came out. There was a transformational outcome. That was what happened to the person. That was what happened to me in that process. From one still small voice, from one whisper, going through the journey and the process, at the end of it, there was a transactional outcome. I got a book published. But far more than that book, if I have to be honest, is the transformational outcome that came about. The person I was when I started to write is not the same person that I am now, because the journey and the process of writing actually helped me to deal with a lot of stuff within myself that showed up that I wasn't really aware, because I'd gotten to a place, I was familiar with the familiar, I was comfortable, I was confident, but when I had to dip into waters I had not been in before, all of these things came up. And I'm glad I went on that journey, because I'm a better person for it. So I guess I'm sharing this story. It's not new to you. You can imagine that at some point in your life, you've heard that still small voice saying something to you. Something that probably didn't make sense. Like in my case, to write poems and all of that, I wasn't that person as far as I knew. But that wisdom knew better. The voice that came from a place of knowing that I didn't know. But I guess what I'm saying here is that we need to trust that voice, even if we don't know, because the wisdom knows better. We need to be able to submit ourselves to the process, even when we don't understand. We need to challenge our own fears and boundaries and allow us to go through that process. At the end of it, we'll be better for it. So what are some of the things that, I could think about in terms of this process, this journey, listening to that whisper, and, at the end of it, having a transactional outcome and a transformational outcome? I think one of the key things, number one, will be to pay attention. Self-awareness is very, very important, because it gives us the opportunity to be able to notice what's going on for us, what's not going on for us, how am I feeling, what emotions going on, what am I noticing around me. I heard something, that voice that said that. What was that about? Was it just me thinking? What was I thinking before that thought came? Giving time to self-reflect and to pay attention. And I know this is very challenging, especially now we have so many things, that's, fighting for our attention. So many things that we need to give time to. And it takes away that time of reflection. My point here is that we need to create time to reflect. We need to create time to pay attention to ourselves and what is going on for us. And then the other thing, apart from paying attention and being more self-aware, is to be able to capture the whisper. Maybe that still small voice comes to you and says something. Capture it. Maybe put it in a notebook, turn it into a song so you don't forget, or, put it on a notepad on your mobile phone, because we go everywhere with our mobile phones these days. Capture it. You may not use it, but hey, it's not going to hurt. Capture that whisper. It may not make sense now, but it may make sense later. The next thing I would say is don't overthink or overanalyze. And I can say, hey, I'm saying that to myself, because I tend to overanalyze things. I want to see everything, laid out from, I want to know what I'm doing. But sometimes you need to trust the wisdom. don't overthink, don't overanalyze. It may not make sense in the minute, but in time, it will make sense. Then the next thing is, you're paying attention, you're noting things, you're writing these things down, and you have something that, looks like, okay, maybe that makes sense, or it doesn't yet. Take action. What action do you need to take from the whisper, from that still small voice, from what you've heard? What action do you need to take? Do you need to go take that form to apply for that studies? Do you need to get a new jotter and start writing things down? Do you need to get a notebook next to your bed at night so that when you wake up with a thought, you're writing them down? Take action. Do something about the whisper. Do something about the wisdom that is coming to you. It may not be big. Oftentimes it seems like little, but that little whisper is going to become an echo if you take action and you run with it. And I think one of the other things is to submit to the process. Submitting to the process is not always easy. It's going to ask of you, because if you want to become somebody different, you're going to have to let go of who you used to be. So it's going to challenge you. It's going to push your limits. It's going to push your boundaries. It's going to force you to become vulnerable, to go to places within yourself that you probably don't want to go, to go to places within yourself that make you feel exposed, like everyone's going to know what I'm thinking in my head when I put it in a book. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Or it's going to make people see me when I make mistakes. It's going to make people realize that, I'm still doing this. I'm still struggling with that. If you want the whisper to become an echo that then reverberates to other people around you, we're going to submit to the process. But I think based on my experience, we'll be better for it. Apart from getting the transactional outcome that I call it, maybe a tangible thing, a tangible product, a tangible result. But more than that is a transformational outcome, which is a person that you become in the process. I'm very grateful for that whisper. I'm very grateful for that voice that said, put words to those feelings, to those emotions that you're going through, to everything that you're experiencing. You don't have to understand it, but put words to them. It was something I could have just ignored. And I look back and I wonder how many whispers I've ignored and what they could have become today if I had followed through. But at the same time, I'm grateful that I listened to that whisper and I followed through. And at the end of that whisper, again, like I said, is a book published of poetry that I didn't think, it wasn't even anything I started out that I wanted to publish a book of poetry. But that's an outcome of submitting to that process. But to me, so much more than that is the person that I've become in that process. This is my story. And I know this is not an unfamiliar story, because I know that we all hear that still small voice sometimes. But it comes in ways or says things that are so unfamiliar to us, or they seem so insignificant that we often ignore them. Having gone through this process and this journey myself, I've begun to ask myself the question and wonder if what I currently know about myself is all there is. And I know now that that's not the case. I know now that there's so much more within me and within you that we've not even begun to scratch the surface. But unless we are able to take the journey that we are being led through, that still small voice that I call a whisper, we may never know. I guess at the end of this journey for me, I've become a lot more curious about this and challenging myself. And I want to put the same challenge to you and the same question. To ask you that, have you ever wondered if what you currently know about yourself And what if currently achieved where you are right now is all there is? And how has that limited or how has that propelled you? Think about that for a moment. If you had asked me like 2 years ago that, oh yeah, you're going to publish a book of poetry, it's not something that's going to come naturally for me to think I could do that, because I didn't think I had the capacity to do that. But an interesting thing happened when I put the book together and I was going to write the back cover for the book. And I was reading about what do I need to write on the back cover, and you need to write something that actually qualifies you or gives you the authority to write what you have written. I'm like, okay, what's the track record here for me about poetry? And it wasn't until that moment then I heard the whisper again, and I was reminded of when I was very young, maybe in primary school or early high school. I used to have a notebook where I would write things. I would write inspirational things. I would write things, you do handmade cards, and I would write messages in them. And I had that moment of, aha, this was there all along. It's just been buried, under so many other things that I never even consciously thought about that. And even while I was writing the poems, it didn't even come to mind until I got to the point where I needed that wisdom. And that still small voice brought it again. Wow. There is more for you. There is more for me. I guess the bottom line of my story, which is your story, that I want you to keep paying more attention to, is the fact that it doesn't matter where we are, it doesn't matter how much we've seen of ourselves, there is still so much more. But the challenge is the invitation to so much more does not always come with a loud bang or sound. Sometimes it comes in that still small voice. And in a loud and noisy world, unfortunately, that still small voice gets drowned. My invitation is to slow down the noise so that the whisper can become clear to you. As you allow the whisper, I'm confident that there's going to be an echo eventually if you follow through the process. It may not make sense to start with. It may even be something that you can't even imagine that you are able to do, or something that is in you. But trust that wisdom. Allow that wisdom to lead you. You're not going to have the full picture, because I can imagine if at the beginning the wisdom said you're going to write a book of poetry, that would have overwhelmed me, because at that point in time I didn't believe that I had it in me. But step by step by step by step by step, I got there in the end. Now I have the confidence, now I have the belief that I have it in me. And writing these sort of things now is not that overwhelming anymore. I'm grateful for this experience. And I'm sharing this journey with you because I know you have it in you as well. Begin to wonder and ask yourself the question, what you currently know about yourself? What you have achieved so far, is that all there is? And how has that limited or propelled you? My message to you is this: there is more for you. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a great honor to be here, and I hope that you've enjoyed this story.
Wow. 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 You know, I wake up every morning and I never know how my day is going to unravel, who I'm going to have the honor of meeting, what the experience is going to be like. And when we connected on LinkedIn, it was the word divine whisper that attracted me to your profile when I reached out to you. I had had an experience that morning where I was doubting that I'm in the right place right now. So I'm stuck in Melbourne, Australia. I came in June. My daughter was about to have a baby. And I got here on a Tuesday. New Zealand and Australia had locked down. So you couldn't travel between the two countries. But I got on a flight on a Tuesday, arrived in Melbourne, and on Wednesday, they locked down again. So I can't physically go back to New Zealand right now. I've been here for 5 months. And the day that I met you, I had heard that whisper. And the whisper was in a dream, but I just woke up with the words, "You're in the right place. You're in the right place." And I'm going to read your poem. Thank you for the book. I managed to get your book this week. I really want to read this for everybody to really make this sink
Yeah.
in about you as women. Who are you? What you're seeing is on the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more underneath. So, with your permission, Subul, I want to read this poem for everyone. In the quiet of the night,
I was honored to have you read it.
your whisper brings sound. All I have to hear is your voice, and all shall be well by your word. In the raging of the storm, your whisper brings calm. All I have to know is your peace, and all shall be well by your command. In the midst of dead works, your whisper brings the life. All I have to feel is your breath, and all shall be by your touch. In the absence of wisdom, your whisper brings light. All I have to have is your revelation, and all shall be well by your guide. In the face of unbelief, your whisper stirs faith in me. All I have to hear is your word, and all shall be well by your grace. So, when I said to you that day, your book spoke to me, it's because I have just discovered the reason why I am in Melbourne. So many things happened in the last 4 or 5 weeks, Ruth. First of all, the Herstory movement won the New Zealand Australia Women in Tech Award for an app that I'm designing for the platform. We won a $20,000 prize, first prize. But over and above that, it was like presenting to Shark Tank. I had a 3-minute pitch for this idea. And all 4 of the judges who were on the panel personally sent me their details saying, Gertrude, we want to help with this movement. Get in touch with us. I'm now working with 2 of them, and they are going to raise the $2 million we need for the Herstory platform and the $2 million that we need for our philanthropic work for Africa Thrive. And the more magical thing about this story is that these people have an office 15 minutes away from my daughter's house. I didn't know how I was going to do this. I didn't know how I was going to
Wow.
pull any of this together. I knew when I started 2 years ago that my job was to curate your stories. My job was to show up every single day and talk to as many women as I can. And in 2 years, I have interviewed 3,000 women. Our database is sitting at 30,000 women at the moment.
Wow.
It has been a miracle. So I'm going to open up the floor. Thank you for being a part of our tribe, Subo. What you've done is reminded every single woman who's listening to these videos that there is more to you than you see. And it's in the stillness that you hear that voice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ruth.
Thank you very much, Gertrude. Thank you.
Thank you, Gertrude. Thank you, Dr. Sumbo. You know, you say you know what you don't know. You know it. You know, like the answers are all within you. That's so profound. And you know, you're so right that as we are growing up, we that voice is shut down. We whatever it's fear or circumstances or hurt or disappointment, whatever, then that voice is quietened. But we really do have the answers within us, don't we? They
Yes,
come
yes.
in the whisper, in that stillness.
Mm.
We really do. So imagine, as you were speaking, and as Gertrude also said, I began to think, my goodness, the potential that is in us, and we'll be buried with all this potential. We are capable of anything and everything, really, when you come to think of it.
Yes.
What an awesome presentation. Thank you so much, Dr. Sumbo. Thank you. Thank you. And Gertrude, please send that book when you're
Thank you.
done.
Thank you so much, Ruth.
This is mine. You have to get your own copy.
We will.
I don't
Thank
think Amazon is
You can get
delivering
it
in
on
Zimbabwe.
Amazon.
I don't think they're delivering in Africa, but I'm fine.
Ah,
Is there a
thank you.
Kindle version? Dr. Sumbo, is there a Kindle
and
version?
there is a Kindle version, yes.
Okay, so you can get a Kindle version. All right,
Ah,
I'll get it for
yes.
you, Ruth. That'll be your Christmas present.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to jump into about for Sumbundi. Like everything you said also spoke to me, and it was so like I was from the beginning you start to the end. I couldn't just stop looking at you and listening to you, and it spoke to my
Please
heart.
introduce yourself so we
Oh,
know who you are and where you are. Everybody needs to get to know each other before this day ends.
okay, I'm sorry. So my name is Hadija Hamadi. Right now, I live in the US in Michigan, Detroit. I've been here for 20 years. I'm, I grew up in France, but I'm originally from Comoros Island, where my parents are from. And so it's Comoros and then France and now US for 20 years now.
And
Wow.
how did you find out about her story?
Her story, I mean, Sumbo, right now, just me listening to you now, I did not know about Divine Whisper and I'm listening. So Wadzani talked to me um,
What's I? Okay.
about it. Wadzi, I've seen her. It looks like she's being here. And it's
Yes.
just new to me. I'm not sure why I did not hear about it before. Because now that I'm listening to
Yeah.
you, I feel like I kind of see you. Like I remember seeing something about you TED talk, or maybe I don't know.
Okay.
So now I'm just listening to all of you. I've been listening to a couple of others a few days ago, and I'm like, all of the stories are like so speaking to my heart. And like you said, Sumbo, we all can relate to those aspects, those divine whisper. And I also I mean, I love the title. The divine whisper is really what it is. Other people will call it intuition or things like that. But I love the divine whisper. It's deeper for me. The part that I also resonate was you don't need to understand. And that was important to me because we are so trying to be rational, try
Mhm.
to rationalize everything, try to understand everything so we can do the next step. But the aspect of you don't need to understand was so important to me as well. And I took notes of the things you were doing. I'm like, those are beautiful reminders. Like I want to keep on reminding myself because it's all about reminder. Like you said, Ruth, it's all within you. We know. We have the answer. We just need to be reminded. And I think this platform, Gertrude, is exactly what we need to remind ourselves that we have it. We can do it. We just need to act and take action. Like that was
Now,
so
I want all of you ladies to participate in a little exercise. We are looking to rebrand the word her story to an African word, either her story, be the voice, transformation, an awakening. Can you share in your language in the chat a word that comes to you, something short, impactful, and meaningful? We're busy brainstorming so we can rebrand the platform and infuse it with an African essence. Before you go, just put in the chat any words that come to you that speak to this awakening. Because for me, the platform is awakening women to their greatness, to who we truly are, and to use our voices for good. So thank you for being here. Absolutely wonderful to have you in the tribe. I'm going to thank Wadzi. She's introduced us to a lot of amazing
Yes.
women as well. Thank you.
Yes.
yeah, we wrote a book together. That book,
Ah,
the You
okay.
Matter.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
The You Matter book. So I'm one of the author there.
Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Selena.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ajija.
Thank you.
Can I be the last? I'll go to my room. I'll go to my granddaughter here.
Okay, we can hear her. All right, we'll have you last. Tambu.
Well, you just caught me off guard. I wasn't thinking about that, but I'm always happy to share any thinking. I'm just trying to think, and all that could come to me was still I rise. I always think about Dr. Maya Angelou, and I was thinking, what does that mean in Shona? And I'm still thinking, that's really something that caught me off guard. But I was just really resonating with Dr. D's work, and the whispers are so powerful. I want to share that I had a download moment of a whole book chapter, the titles of the chapters in a sitting. I just sat there and it came, and I thought, why would I write a book like that? Who would I write that book with? And this is like 3 years ago. And this year I was having a conversation with people who are picking all the chapters before I even shared that chapter with them. They have picked up the chapters and are running with them. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, because if I overanalyzed it when I heard the whisper, I would have missed the essence of the 10 chapters that I received their titles just from the whisper. I think it's about obedience. It's about just being in the quiet place. It's about just not over analyzing things because it's actually quite simple. It brought me to just share this with you that
Mm.
Marian Williamson says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And I think, Ruth, you articulated so well the social conditioning and how we are raised to constantly say, you are not enough. Don't do that now. You can't do that. And as children, they do so many things, and we constantly saying, you can't do that. Where did you learn that from? And we miss the opportunity of that light and the brilliance. And I wish for all of us to step back when the shine comes. Sherry's song, I'm thinking about it, shine. I wish for everybody that sees their child or anybody bringing something unusual, awkward, abnormal, let it be, because that's where the shine is, because we all have it. So thank you so much, Dr. D, for just bringing this back to us to remind us about this beautiful place that is inside. There's this light waiting to burst outside of us. So thank you for this time. It's almost midnight here in Johannesburg. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Tiffany.
Sambo. Thank you.
You know, before I get to Dr. D, I have to say, um, madam, can I have the correct pronunciation of your name? Because I'm a stickler for proper pronunciations. To how I'm sorry, who
Oh,
just spoke
thank
before
you
me?
for that. It's Sumbo.
Sumbo.
Sumbo. Okay, so
Indeed.
that's Dr. Sumbundi, but the
Indeed.
Ndi, is that, did I say that correctly?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So, um,
Yeah.
yes. So I have to say two things because I have to say something to Tambu before I say something to you. Um, the poetry and the passion that like I could literally just sit and listen to you all day, and just how overwhelmed you are with actually the love you have for what's happening here. I just wanted to notate that and say something. And then I don't know why I didn't register. You are actually in SA, which is my second home, and I love it. I love it there. I was just there February, so hopefully I'll be returning this coming February. Actually in SA, which is my second home, and I love it. I love it there. I was just there February, so hopefully I'll be
You
returning
have
this
an
coming February.
echo.
Oh yeah, I was like, okay. So I love it. I love it there. I was just there February, so hopefully I'll be
You
returning.
have an
Is your
echo.
Facebook
Oh yeah,
on?
So I
okay.
think we might have Facebook on.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There we are. I
Yeah.
clicked it off. Um, but Dr. D, just the what stands out for me is, I don't want to make it too simplistic, but it really is simple. A simple evidence of how similar we are, how much in common we have, no matter where we live in this world. And the fact that each of us struggles with
Yeah.
who we are, why we're here, and then the obstacles that we have to overcome to actually begin to walk in our authority and our power. And so the thing that I often experience and that I see and I honor in your recitation of your experience is that we always have to share what we're going through, because we always feel alone while we're in it. But then once we say it, we realize we're really not alone. We're not the only one. We're not the oddball out. We're not the person who's been rejected by God. Like, we really are family. And so I just appreciate you having the courage to share your story and prove our familial bonds, and continue to be courageous and to write and write and write. And thank you again so much for just your presence and connecting with us as our sisters, as our family. So thank you.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Thank you very much.
Angela.
That's very encouraging.
So is Angela and Tambu in the same room? Because your backgrounds are the same.
I got confused for a minute.
Yes, Ali.
Then I realized, it's the background.
I just realized that a few minutes ago. Okay, I got something to share too. Dr. I hope I pronounced correct. Sumbo, correct? Dr. Sumbo. Yeah, as she speak, I fully resonate with her.
Yeah.
For me also, I had this fear of, when I began to write my book early this year about my journey, and I had this fear of being judged, of being not enough. I write the first time, I got this, encouragement from my coach or mentor. I got a few. So, but then along the way, I realized that, this thought, whisper, sometimes it's our hate, sometimes it's I call it the spirit, So, and I realized that sometimes as I write, this thought of, who are you to write this book? you know who would listen to you? Your story is just a little tiny spot in the world. But then I told myself, somehow along the way, there's this inner prompting. I call it of the inner spirit, or what you call the whisper. That there is because I've been searching for my purpose for a very very long time, and I'm actually an introvert. So because of that, I feel most of the time as I grow up, I feel very out of place, awkward, because I always internalize my feelings. And I hardly spoke in class in school until I was 14 years old. And so finding my purpose, this is something that I struggle with. And as I write this book, the two voices that actually I struggle with is, who am I? Like I resonate with Dr. Sumbo, and that I'm not enough. Who am I to write this? And even being a coach, who am I to actually be a life transformation mentor for somebody else? So, but as I go along, this inner prompting of the whisper gets stronger and stronger. Because it has shown me that this is what I've been searching for, because I've been searching for my purpose. And you know um, and we have been taught also by my mentor that, when you have a problem, or you actually struggle through your challenges, this is actually something that you go through, and you actually overcome it, and you actually share your gift of being, having overcome with the world. So that's what actually prompted me to continue finishing my book. So yeah, I just finished my book, I think about a month ago. It's launching soon on the 22nd of December. This is my first book. So thank you so much, Dr. Sumbo, for sharing your story too, because I really, really, really fully resonate with you.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank
Absolutely
you very much,
beautiful.
Angela, and congratulations for pushing through. Yeah, thank you.
So we have Estelle. Estelle, I think, is having problems. She's coming in and out. Estelle, I don't know if you want to say anything, contribute anything, introduce yourself so at least we get to know you.
Uh, Hi, good evening.
Oh, she's dropped off again.
Hi,
I think she's having connectivity issues. I've seen
Miss
her pop in
Elaine.
and out. Well, hopefully she'll come back.
Yeah,
So,
I'll say something. I'm free
yeah,
now.
oh, you're
Yep.
Selena, you're hearing now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Sumbo, thank you so much for that. It was just like so empowering. And I mean, last night I had, that small still voice. I think it was early this morning around 4. And I was going to write something, and I almost fought it. And then I just thought, okay, I'll get up and I've looked at my phone, I was looking for something. And I got exactly what I wanted. I had written it before. I've written so many topics, and I haven't written the books, but I've got so many books which I sometimes I listen, and I got this topic. It's so clear. It's about, like things which are happening in life, true life stories. But it's like it's very impactful. And then I don't pursue that. So thank you for the encouragement. And I know as women, every story touches one, if not most of us. So I think, like somebody was saying, we are all like one, intertwined. Sometimes what I think, I wouldn't be surprised Ruth saying, "Oh, yesterday I was thinking about it," because it's as the telepath. God is such saying He's our Father, that He's the source of everything. So thank you so much, and thank you for your story. I'm grateful to be here.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
wonderful. This
Thank you
has been
very
an
much.
incredible day, ladies. A phenomenal day, and we still haven't finished. We have more speakers coming up. We will start with you, Tiffany. I will
That's
read your bio as Ruth removes people from the stage.
Okay.
So, Tiffany, I can't even remember how we met or where we met. Can you refresh my memory? Is Tiffany there? Uh, oops, Tiffany's been removed. Okay, there you are.
Sorry.
Okay. No, no problem.
Sorry.
Um, you know, it's funny. I was just thinking about that, and I was actually going to mention it. Is that this is really the power of what you are doing, what you've been doing, and how you're creating a network of long lasting relationships. The way that I met you is that we both were a part of um, WEF, when we did the New Mexico,
Oh,
right? We did
yes.
yes, the New Mexico, and I came and I was serving you and helping
I
and
remember now.
yes. And so it's so much
Okay.
has transpired since then. And the last time we really got to talk was just before your wedding.
Yeah.
And so it's I know there's been a lot that's transpired in your life and a lot that's transpired in my life, but I just really um I think just in this you asking me that question, I think I want to encourage people that life is lifing all the time, right? And so sometimes we feel like we lose contact with people, and especially during a whole pandemic, I think many of us may
Yes.
have lost contact, and maybe we feel like, oh, we weren't really friends, or we shouldn't reach out. But I think this is pure evidence that a network that is built on authenticity and sisterhood and friendship will withstand distance and time,
Mm.
because
So,
no
what
matter
was the
what.
whisper that got you to connect with me today? What's inspired you?
The funny thing is, I really haven't been on social media because I've been off, right?
Right.
And I I was on there. You just popped up. You really just popped up, and I was like, oh, let me send the message, and then here I am. So
Okay, so let me introduce you. Um, so, Tiffany Russell is a global leadership consultant, award winning international speaker, best selling author, coach, and trainer who's an expert in mindset set mastery and believes the healing and empowerment of women and youth is the key to healing the world. She regularly facilitates workshops and trainings aimed at inspiring leaders to expand their impact in the global community through compassionate leadership, collaborative projects, and philanthropy. Currently, Tiffany is empowering women and youth globally through her nonprofit organization called the Global Legacy Builders Foundation. She facilitates projects and workshops for youth in underserved and marginalized communities. Her best selling book, Dear Leader, challenges emerging and transitioning leaders to know who they are and who they serve by continually providing tools to break through limiting beliefs, transform mindsets, and expand vision and purpose in our leaders. Tiffany believes that we can change the world. In matters of compassion, pray to be a river, not a reservoir. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, one of our inaugural speakers for the Herstory movement, which started in New Mexico in 2017 or 16 or somewhere back there. Welcome, the stage is yours.
oh my goodness, thank you so much. Thank you to all of the speakers that have been on here before me. And just as I was saying a moment ago, I want to give real thanks and honor to Gertrude, who has been passionate about connecting women, connecting people's stories for since I've known her, and I'm sure from well before. And this is just evidence that it still works. Um, so here's the funny thing about me. I'm a very authentic, this is the way it is type of person. And I literally reconnected, as you heard Gertrude say, I reconnected probably 2 hours ago after we haven't spoken for a couple of years due to the pandemic. And so I sat here and said, well, what is it that I would speak about? What is it that I would talk about? Because pandemic, right? I haven't really been speaking in a lot of places. Um, and so what I got to was kind of why. And so as I sat here and listened to other speakers, I just kind of formulated this conversation. So I don't know if I would call it a talk, but this is a conversation that I want to have with you. So I want to talk about what I call the reset. And so, what that looks like is I'm going to say some words to you, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk about what these words have meant over the past 2.5, 3 years. Okay. So, the words are ache, awkwardness, aspiration, audibility, awareness, authority, assertiveness, activation, and audacity. And so I don't have a whole lot of time to recap 2 years, but I'm going to do it. And this is what it looks like. About the end of 2019, after 5 straight years of serving communities in South Africa, serving underserved communities around the world and in my own United States, that's where I'm at, I started to have an ache. And the ache that I was feeling was actually tiredness. It was overwhelm. It was disappointment. It was exhaustion. I had reached a point where I had served and served and served to the point where I really didn't think I could serve anymore. And that led to a very great awkwardness. The awkwardness was I had been in a full run, a full tilt work. I had been serving, I had been speaking, I was traveling, I was everywhere doing everything. I was on social media. And the awkwardness was, how do I back out of this because I'm tired? How do I keep moving forward when I don't feel like I have any more to give? How do I keep going? How do I scream? How do I tell people around me I am done? And so what was happening was I had to have an aspiration. Now, this word that I said I wanted to use has a bunch of definitions. And it's funny that all the definitions actually encompass what was going on. So before I had an aspiration, right? And that definition of aspiration, I had a desire to achieve something. That's how I met Gertrude. I was working to achieve this great impact in the world by impacting women, by impacting youth, by helping leaders to stand up, to go firm, to activate, use their voices, to use their gifts. That was my aspiration. And for the most part, I was making a dent. I was doing some work. I was feeling good about it. But then I started having aspiration, which was audible breathing. You know, that kind of breath that you take when you're exhausted. The sigh that says, I'm over this. The breath that says, I can't breathe. I'm being crowded on all sides by the demands on me as a leader, by the demands on me as a woman, by the demands on me as a mother, by the demands on me as a wife. I couldn't breathe. So, what I had to do was have an aspiration. And that definition of that word is a removal of fluids that are affecting our ability to breathe. When you go to the hospital, they take measures to clear your lungs. Now, while I'm speaking metaphorically, I think you all understand the type of pressure, the type of feeling that I was undergoing. And I think many of you have felt it. And that's why it's so important that Herstory is around, because your stories are important in order for you and for us to survive. So the next word that I had to deal with was audibility. Now, I've never been shy and I've never had a problem saying no, and I don't have a problem speaking my mind. But for some reason, when I was audibly telling people I was not okay, they weren't getting it. Why? Because I'm the strong one. I'm the one that people come to for answers. I'm the one that people always know is going to be okay. So my audibility, even though I was opening my mouth, I was not being heard. So then I had to create awareness. And what did that look like? It looked like I had to do what I needed to do no matter what people thought. It meant I had to make people aware that even though I looked okay and I'm good at handling stuff, that I wasn't. That also then required me to assert myself. Even when they were trying to give me remedies to get me back up on my feet, to perk me up and tell me, but you're the strong one, you can do it. I had to be assertive and tell them, no, not this time. I need to sit down. I need to sit down or I'm going to lay down. How many of you have felt that in your life? The push to do and accomplish and create. And then when you try to speak up for yourself, people just won't let you be the person that they're not prepared for you to be vulnerable. They're not prepared for you to be weak. They're not prepared for you to be not okay. So I had to speak and say, with authority, I'm not, and I'm going to sit down until I am okay. Now that started the end of 2019. So what I thought was going to be a 3-month rest literally ended up being 2 years. I sat down for 2 years behind the scenes. Now, enter pandemic, which actually gave me a rest to a great degree, but my mind couldn't work. I didn't want to help anybody. I didn't want to do the things that I was passionate about. I had reached my apex. I had reached my enough. I had reached my I can't do anymore. And so what did I do? I sat and I found joy. I had the audacity to be okay with not being okay. I had the audacity to not do what everybody thought I should be doing. I had the audacity to take time and find out what was going to work for me and serve me. I had to have the audacity to speak up. I had to have the audacity to find joy. So, what did my joy in my year look like? It looked like I started spending more time with my husband. I went bike riding. I went to the beach. I love the beach. I refused to help anyone. I know that sounds for some of us like, how in the world did you do that? How? That's impossible. Especially when it's your nature, because it is my nature to help. I actually love helping people. But in this instance, I needed to love helping me. I had to love helping me. And I did. I laughed and I didn't feel an ounce of guilt for not serving someone else. Now, I cheated every once in a while because there were a couple of people who had been with me long term. I was their advisor and I was able to do it, but I still did it within my own perimeters, with my own limitations. I did not give more than I had. I did not give when I didn't want to. And I did not allow anyone to dictate to me what that looked like. I had the audacity. During that time, I actually was able to finally complete my book. I got in touch, super in touch with my spiritual connection, to my divine creator. And I had this assignment of a book for, I think, as long as I've known Gertrude and before. And I just hadn't been able to get it done. But I did when I had the audacity to take time for myself, when I had the audacity to not serve other people, when I had the audacity to be a little bit selfish and to take care of me and finish my projects. My book was completed. Dear Leader is a work of compassion, is a work of heart for leaders like me. And a lot of my story is in this book. The reality of burnout as a leader, the reality that I can't be everything to everyone, the reality that it hurts to try to pivot and do new things at different times. But I did it. I did it. All the stories that I had stored up, all the experiences that I had just sitting on a shelf, I got them out. I published my book the beginning of this year in 2021, and it's a bestseller on Amazon. And to say this, I'm saying that now I've reached the point of activation. Because after all of my sitting down, after all of my awkwardness, after all of my aspirations and inability to breathe, after all of the things that I went through over the past 2 years, I realized that I could not stop being me any more than the sun could stop being the sun. But I had the ability to define what that looks like. I have the ability to determine how I show up in the world. I lost my mother in October, just 2 months ago. And when she passed, I was joyful. I was joyful because I looked at her life and I was able to say she did everything she set out to do. And I'm her daughter. And I will do all the things I set out to do, but with my definition of them, not measured against society, not measured against somebody else and their success, not measured against what other people would like to say it should look like. Now is my activation time. So you're going to see me, you're going to hear me, you're going to know me, not because I desire to be spotlighted, but because that's my job. That's why I'm here. That's my purpose, is to activate other people, not just myself. I understand very, very clearly that other people's destinies are tied to my voice being heard. I understand other people's legacies are tied to me showing up. So while I've had this great time to reset, now it's time for my relaunch. And I'm here and I'm so excited to spend time and share what has been divinely given to me for you, for the world, for whoever is supposed to come across my path. And I thank everyone for this time. And I thank you, Gertrude, for this time to listen to me share this story. I think that was the time.
Absolutely wonderful. Tiffany, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, life is really magical the way it unfolds sometimes. You can never quite figure out why you bump into certain people and, like you said, why we stay connected. But I have friends who I can spend 10 years without talking to them, and then they'll pop up, and it just feels like we're just picking up a thread that we dropped the last time we spoke. So when you popped up this morning, I was like, what? I haven't talked to Tiffany in years.
I know.
It was amazing. Now, your story with burnout is a very common thing for most women, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, or maybe you don't know, I ended up with congestive heart failure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I collapsed in a rice field in Bali. And it's because we take on so much and we don't know how to say, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. I need to rest. I think for me, the weight that was on my shoulders was the number of women and children that I was fundraising for, that I was supporting, that weight kept me going to the point where I almost killed myself doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember lying in that rice field in Indonesia, thinking, this is it. This is it. Everything I had worked to build would have died with me. So the Herstory movement is a way for me to connect people with all of the projects that I've initiated around the world. And as you know, we're a social impact movement. Every woman who's coming to the platform is bringing a project in her community that she supports, or if she doesn't have anything, she can plug into the existing projects that we already have. We will change the world one woman at a time, one story at a time. And it starts at home with your husband and your kids, and you taking care of yourself and understanding that your health is your wealth. Without being healthy, you can't do anything for anyone else. So I had to stop for almost 2 years and put the oxygen tank on me. It was difficult to get myself back on my feet. If you had seen me in 2017, I couldn't walk. I had chronic fatigue. I'd put on so much weight. It's been a slow, painful journey to regain my health. So thank you for reminding us all of that this morning. We'll open up the panel and go around the room. Miss Ruth.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you so much. You know, it takes courage to say no. It takes courage to say, I've had it, I've had enough. And just to withdraw and to start working on self, to getting back to that level where you are now, and you're saying, I've activated myself, and knowing that there are destinies, there are other people whose activation depends on you. But it takes courage, and well done for that, because the guilt that comes with it, you know, when you're used to being the strong one, you're used to carrying things for others, you can't even take an extra day just to sleep. But that takes real courage, and I'm glad you did. And we as women, I think we can learn from that experience you had, and even Gertrude's experience. I remember when she collapsed in Bali. It was a very difficult time for me, you know, because she's always on the go. You know, if you know Gertrude, you know she's go 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 go. And so yeah, so it was very hard. And she's in Bali, I'm in Africa, and I'm thinking, oh God, you know, yeah. So I think as women, we just need sometimes to slow down, take time for ourselves, and just rest and rejuvenate, get in touch with ourselves again, and get clear, get new visions, and a way and plans on how to move forward. So I'm so happy you took time out, Tiffany, and now you are back. And I like that you are activating and you're activated, and you hear, will see you, not because you want to show off or you want the light shining on you, but because you are ready and it's time to do what you need to do, and your purpose actually. So thank you for such a, I love it. I loved the presentation and the way you presented it, you know, beautiful. Thank you. Is your book on Amazon?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's Dear Leader. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So there's two of them. The one is about Korea. I didn't write that one.
Okay. So this is the other one. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll look for it.
A personal guide for it's called Dear Leader, a personal guide for leaders through peace, pandemic, and protest.
Okay. Thank you.
No
Thank you so much,
Amazon in Africa.
I'm hoping to see
Which part are you
Kindle.
in? Because I have printers and publishers there. You might still be able to get your book there. But there's also it's a digital version is available. Kindle. It's on Kindle too.
The paperback is always a good one because you can make notes and
Mm.
And this is a book that
so
you're going to need to make notes. You
I'm
have to make notes.
I'm in Zimbabwe, so South Africa is next door. Do you have copies in South Africa?
Yes, yes, I do.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
So connect with Tiffany on Facebook and she can hook you up
Yes,
with.
I will.
yes. We lost
Awesome.
somebody. I don't know if they left or if they just dropped.
Yeah, that was Dr. Sumo. She dropped out. Maybe she had to go.
Okay.
Khadija. Khadija. Why am I calling you Khadija?
Hadija.
Khadija.
I think maybe because it's common, it's common to see the K,
Yes.
H, because the actual name is Khadija. But
Okay.
I think in France, because I was born in France, my parents didn't want anyone to call me Khadija. So they dropped the K to make
They
sure
dropped
it's
the K.
Khadija.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking because the intention was Khadija, thinking of Khadija. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know.
Your feedback
So
for
yeah,
Tiffany.
my feedback, like Ruth was saying, I love the way you presented. That was so organized and beautiful, and we can see the journey with you. And like you said, because we kind of go through those without realizing, and I was going through those with you, like the ache and then the awareness, and then at one point you make the decision and you assert yourself, all of that. I never thought of it like that. And I love it because I'm like, yeah, this is exactly those steps we're going through. And so yeah, so like you say, and for me, I mean, one of the aspect that I'm trying to learn and teach to my kids is to not necessarily wait until the burnout, not necessarily wait until we need the actual 2 years, but to learn to do it sustainable. So it's a habit that we have to take care of ourselves so we can just keep on going forever. And I know it's possible because some around me saying, no, you need to just stop one day. No, you don't necessarily need to. You just need to learn to listen to you every day, and then you keep on moving. But it's practice. It's like you say, it's awareness, and it's all of that. And I love how you share all of that. I felt every aspect, and also I'm so sorry for your mom. I mean,
Oh,
2 months
thank
is
you.
very recent.
Hmm.
I know. I mean, we are here. I'm praying with you, and we are all,
Thank you.
sending hugs your way.
Thank you. And thank you for that clearness, because literally you guys, that's the first time I've ever said these words. I literally wrote those words down just because I
Wow,
was thinking, because I didn't have anything prepared. So yes, I was like, well, this is the journey. I'll talk about that. So thank you. I'm
that
gonna
can
sing
be a
this
book.
now.
That can be your next book, and those steps. Like, how do you get out of your burnout? That's
Hmm.
it.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Angela.
Yeah, I fully also resonate with Tiffany. I like the way she presented, starting. I noticed all the words start with the alphabet A, and that's very, very creative. And many words actually resonate with me too. And first thing, I'm so sorry about your mom. Second thing is, I'm really glad that you took a kind of a slow down for the past 2 years, because in Chinese, I'm Chinese. There's a proverb that that's says something like this: we need to rest in order to move, a longer journey. So this is what I'm glad that you actually go through, and I'm glad for your courage to share your journey too. And I'm sure this would actually help a lot of leaders, like for myself too. Recently, I'm because for me is I've been starting as maybe this is something that I need to also consider, also take to heart. Sometimes I find myself, I push myself too hard, that literally, because I push myself too hard until sometimes for 1 day, 2 days, I just didn't sleep at all. So I'm not too sure whether it's age or not, because I'm 54. So sometimes could be that, but I tell myself I have to, because I'm still doing some kind of part-time, projects beside doing this and finishing my book for the past few months, and to be a life mentor for somebody else, and also to be a speaker. So I actually find myself, sometimes like sometimes also ask the same question, whether it's this for me. But like I said in earlier on, I know this is my purpose. I live for this purpose for the rest of my life. It's my soul. It just lights me up. And when the first time I speak, I actually that was end of November. How I know Gertrude is through Facebook ads. um, is
Mm.
somehow I was doing some search, and then ads appeared, and I tell myself, hey, why not just sign up, to speak. And I'm glad and it has been an amazing journey so far. And Gertrude has been a very, very sometimes we have to. I mean, she's in Melbourne, Australia, sometimes looking after her grandson, and I have to, I'm in Singapore, so we have to coordinate our time to go on Zoom and all that. I'm glad for her, commitment also. For we have to arrange. Sometimes she tell me she have to put a grandson to sleep, and before she can come on Zoom for me, hop on me for to me for a short while. So and so to come back to Tiffany, I'm glad they actually took a rest for that period, so that you actually you're able to serve more. You're able to, because if our cup is not filled up, if we ourselves have not filled up, we cannot pour out. This is what I learned. I'm a Christian. This is what I learned in the Bible also. We have to fill our cup in order to share it with the world, in order to serve better. So I'm so glad. And I would also love to get hold of your book too, after that. Um, so because I'm learning to also evolve to be a leader. So I'm so glad that I get to meet you on this platform. For me, there's always never a time to stop learning. We have to keep on evolving and growing. So in order to help others, we have to grow. So I'm on this journey of always work in progress. I'm never stop learning. So I'm so glad to know about you. I definitely want to get hold of your book, to know more about you too. And I'm glad that you actually have served with Gertrude for the in the past too. So I also want to know more about your work. That's how I get hold of Gertrude. So too, I actually connected with Gertrude, probably a month ago, to ask, hey, what kind of project I want to get involved in. So because this is what I believe in. When I was 17 years old, I was actually introduced to World Vision. I think probably you heard about it too. So I because I was so busy with I get married, and then something happened in my life, so it was at the back seat. So now my son has grown up, my second born. So I'm here to actually have more time to serve and to connect with women like you, Gertrude and Tiffany, to make the world a better place. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This is so beautiful. Like, as
Yes.
everybody is speaking, I'm sorry, I just want to say this before you speak, Miss Selena. This just warms my heart about the power of Gertrude's vision. Like, this
Yes.
is just the power of her heartstrings that,
Yes.
again, like I said, it's been a couple of years, and the fact that there's no way that I wouldn't support her,
Yes.
right? And come up. Like, there's no question. So just thank you again, Gertrude, for being who you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Miss Selena.
Yeah, thank you, Tiffany. That's so beautiful and so important to rest and to just fill up your cup. But sometimes, you'll be just a gong going around and not saying anything. When you say you had took 2 years and then your mom passed on, like 2 months or last month or a month, yeah, it's October. It's just like you were so lucky to have her for that long. And I think now it's just the happy memories, and it's exciting when you can just be with her anywhere. I mean, the same to Gertrude as well. You can be with your mom anywhere now and talk to her and love her, feel her, open your heart for her because she's not, she has left this box which was heavy for her and she's lighter. So enjoy her and don't draw her back by continuing to think, okay, I wish she was here. No, you don't want to see her. If you see her walking now, you will run away. So
No, I believe in quality over quantity, and
yeah,
just the thing, my mom had cancer, so when she got to that point, I never need company that bad. I need my mom to rest, and she
to
is, and
rest. Yeah,
she did a great job. So yeah.
yeah, like
Mm.
you. Yeah, I mean, I know it's like I had cancer as well. I survived cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 4, and it was just by the grace of God that I did that. But it was also for me to share my story that God can do, still do it. It doesn't matter that you've gone that low, He can still lift you up. So He's always lifting up our spirits up. In our darkest moments, He's always there. I always remember the story of this guy who was in the well, in the fish for 3 days, but God was still there. So He's always there for us. Thank you so much. And yes, this vision, it's exciting, Gertrude. It's really exciting. When we open all the books and the files and we know you're free to say, you know, this is it. I feel comfortable. I feel really I'm home. And so it's like one women united because we are all one. I don't see any separation. So thank you so much for this platform. And I think we can have a group, a Facebook group where people can go in and out just
The group
to
is already
find.
there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it already exists. So, Ruth, if you can just connect everybody and invite them into the group,
Mm,
that's awesome. Thank you, Selena.
thank you. I think I will be going. My granddaughter is now.
Okay.
Thank
Go
you
I
play,
so
love
much.
Grandma.
you.
Thank you,
For
Selena.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you.
Great for you to
tomorrow.
be
Thank you.
here. Good
All
night.
See
right. Bye.
you.
Good night.
See
Bye.
you tomorrow.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Mwah. Mwah.
Sumo.
Hmm? You okay?
Dr. Sumbo, are you there? Or has she frozen?
Can see her, but cannot hear
Yeah,
her.
it looks like she's probably
I think
frozen a
her,
little
her
bit.
thing has probably frozen. Yeah, so Tiffany, one of the things that biggest things I've taken from you is I'm writing a book called Ubuntu Leadership. And I've got a chapter in there about a leader being like a bow and an arrow. That sometimes for an arrow to go really far, you have to pull it back
Hmm.
and get really steady and then release. And our bodies tell us to do that sometimes. It's like, slow the hell down.
Hmm.
And then when you're rested and you are full, then you can really unleash that power that's within. So thank you for reminding us. So
Thank
we
you
will
for the
move on to our
opportunity.
next speaker. I think Dr. Sumbo is frozen. Am I correct?
Looks like.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think I saw her frozen too.
Okay. Yeah. No, she's actually dropped out
Did,
now.
didn't see her move.
Yeah. No, she's dropped out. So Ruth, you will introduce our next speaker. I will take people
Yes.
off screen.
Thank you. Thank you, Gertrude. Hadija, welcome. Hadija Hamadi is married and has 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. She was born in Marseille and grew up in Paris, France. Her parents are from the Comoros Islands. She came to the United States in 2003. She volunteered for and found a passion in education and personal development. Hadija has 2 bachelor's degrees, one in business from France and the other one in children and families from the University of Michigan. She's also a certified Science of Success Baker Hill Women's Empowerment School graduate. She is the founder of
Shwet.
Parenting, Shwet Parenting, and she empowers parents to bring clarity, confidence, peace, and joy in their parenting. The multicultural household she grew up in added a different touch to her shred parenting business. Her passion is to spread compassion, kindness, and love to facilitate successful and peaceful parenting and making a more compassionate world, starting with how we parent our children. Hadija enjoys reading, learning, walking nature, and more importantly, spending time with her friends and family. Start your journey with the Mindset Matters Parenting Guide, a guide for parenting that leads to your well being, not just for the kids, is her book, and she is on Facebook and will share her website address as she's speaking. Hadi, us and welcome to our tribe. Take it off.
Thank
Stage
you
is all
so
yours.
much. Thank you so much, Ruth and Gertrude. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story. And I think, like some of you already share, we women have different stories. We have not just one stories, because we have different stage of our life and how we grow, and at what stage we decided to make choose the way we want to live. And I think so like Tiffany was saying, I wasn't sure where what to talk about necessarily, but I'm going to mention the reason I'm passionate about empowering parents to be to reflect on themselves. So it's all about us. Initially, we parents like to say that the child is behaving differently, and we don't like it like that, and but we never really think of why are they doing the way that acting the way they act, and why are they uh, rebelling like this, and sometimes it's a reflection of us. And that's why I love what Tiffany was sharing when she was talking about the different A's, which can be a thing. But the fact that that it's all start with us, and the reason is the way I grew up is so my story. I was born in France, in a home where my parents were coming for immigrated from Comoros Island. So at home, we were Comorian, and not necessarily at home, but we just Comorian. But the way I grew up at home, it's all the tradition was a Comorian tradition, and so and for me it was very difficult to manage. How can I be French and Comorian all together, having those identity blended, because I was born there, but my mommy wanted me to act like I was born in Comoros. And so we having those moments for ourselves of how do I manage that. At no point my mom thought that I was going through that. She just think you need to be Comorian, don't be too French. And when I would assert myself as me, and it's not, if it's not on the frame of the Comorian tradition, it would be wrong. And so I never felt I was in a good place, because I had to be Comorian this time, and now I go to school and I need to be French, a little bit Comorian. So it was very difficult to me to really manage all of that. And adding to this, I'm also my religion is Islam, so I'm Muslim, French, and Comorian. And I want to add that because that aspect in my life had allow me to actually do this whole alignment. So my story is really because I wasn't sure how to manage all of that in France. And then fast forward 25 years old, and I'm now in America. And I'm in America, and now I'm the immigrant one from France to America, having children that are now American. And so now they are French, Comorian, and American. So now I'm in the position of my mom, who is now raising those beautiful I have three children, in America, and I want to put the Comorian food, the Comorian culture. I also want to put the French culture, and which makes it easy because my husband is also French and Comorian. So that makes things a little bit easy in that aspect. But then I realize it's a lot of work. It's not just happen like that. It's not because I'm Comorian and I'm French that my kids are going to feel it. And so that's where now I had to realize that it was not about me just imposing that to my kids. It was important for me to understand and be clear about what I want and why do I want it. Why do I want to put the Comorian? Why is it important for me? Why do I need to make sure that the identity are clear in their mind? So for that, it was all about me, and I will reflect on the way my mom parent, um, um, and then saying to myself, I don't want to do it this way. I don't want to. There are beautiful things that she done with everything that she could, but I wanted to do it differently because my mom, for instance, in regard to language, she will be talking to me in Comorian, but will allow me to respond in French. So now I don't really speak Comorian, and I'm sad about this because now at my age, it's a little bit hard to retrain myself and go back. So when I go to Comoros, I feel a little bit shy because I don't speak Comorian, and so then it's like that French lady coming and things like that. So today, the way I change my parenting is to make sure that my kids speak at least French because that's my language. That's the easy way to connect with my language. So that's how I'm always in that position of thinking of how I feel and how I share that with my children. And in that process, the different things that I would notice is sometimes when we do an immigration to another country, the way I felt my mom did was rejecting the French culture because she wanted to impose the Comorian one. And that makes it difficult for the child because now you see the negative aspect of the French culture and things like that. So I wanted to make sure that I don't do the same mistakes. And while doing this journey, because it's work, because it's a reflection, because it's a self-development, I noticed that maybe that's the reason my mom was not enjoying her parenting because she was so busy on doing different things with life and then her kids and then the Comorian is important, etc. So then now I'm focusing on the joy of me. I want to be able to be a parent, but enjoying it and enjoying it while enjoying being where I am. I am in the state now, and I love being here. That doesn't mean that I do not like France. That doesn't mean that I do not like Comoros. It's just now I need to do a beautiful combination. And while doing all this work, I'm noticing a pattern of how I go about it. And how I go about it is focusing on me and how I think I thought about being the best parents was to be the best person version of myself, and all of that to then having different people saying, how come you're always happy? How come you have 3 kids, you're working full time and you're doing this and this and that? Why do you still have the smile? Like, no, I'm dead here. And so those kind of comments make you reflect on, yeah, I'm always happy, but I don't actually know what I'm doing every day, I guess. So then you do those reflection, like some of you already mentioned, the time to reflect and see what is the pattern in what I'm doing that actually make me enjoy the things that I do, which is now fast forward of why I created Shred Parenting, because now I realize that yes, there's different things that I do. I think it's common sense to me, but then now that I'm talking to other parents, I realize that I think there is this, it's an aha moment for them. It's a moment where I didn't even think of doing that. And for me, it's normal. For me, it's my second nature. So that's where I feel like you, Herstory Herstory movement is important because by sharing it, we realize that we may think it's logical, it makes sense for us, but some other did not think about it. And we just need to continue on sharing to make sure that they actually the awareness is coming, and then we can basically change the world and change everything based on those share. And to me, when we are focusing on healing the different things that we are going through and growing, we are better parents. And because we are better parents, because we are more mindful, we are more present with our children, they become better people, better little people. And then they're growing to be those compassionate and caring and attentive people that we want in the world. So to me, it's all about, I want people to care. I want people to be kind. And I grew up in a way where that's not how it works. Like, you cannot just be kind and be successful. You need to be tough. You need to be like you have that toughness in it that it didn't align with me. I didn't want to be tough and successful. I want to be successful with kindness. I want to be successful with care. But then the world around us is challenging us because it's making us, like, the society is making us believe that to be a leader you need to be tough, and to be a leader you need to be like this. And no, we can be a leader full of compassion. And I'm happy to see that there are more of that movement of leader with compassion, and that's what I want to spread as a mission. And I'm focusing on the parents because I feel like we are transmitting those to our kids when we don't focus on that. And that's where I want to focus on the fact that when you yell at your kids, when you put shame into your kids, when you destroying their self-esteem, and then that kills so many other things that is going to continue throughout the world. And those kids that don't have a good self-esteem, don't have a motivation, don't have anything because they don't feel enough, they don't do anything into the world. And we don't want that. We don't want any passive kids growing, becoming passive people. We want a group of people that wants to spread kindness, be an activist of compassion. And so I guess that's my mission and that's my story. And again, like we say, it's not going to be a half an hour that we say. I mean, Tiffany did a good job in 2 years, like she did. She did great in doing that summary. But my summary is really, I came to the United States and I didn't speak English. I only speak English from school, which was like 1 or 2 words in British English. So when I came my first year, my first objective was to volunteer, because I say, if I volunteer, I'm exposing myself, I may speak English eventually. And the volunteering was in an education nonprofit organization. And if I allow myself to say her name, Julia Ritchie is the person that put the seeds in me to be the parents I am today. Because the education, the Yes Foundation was the organization who was helping kids to do the alphabet, the tutoring and caring. And that exposure showed me where we need to do the work. The work is not on the child. The work is on us parents to be more aware, to be helping those kids. So that's really where things begin when I came here, and that's why I get my degree here, to help more in children and family, to understanding more the culture, the American culture, because I'm not from here. I needed to learn so many things, and I'm Black, but I'm not. I'm Black, but understanding the African American culture is completely different. And I think that's where I'm doing the difference of doing more work, of understanding where I'm coming from, so I can put this appreciation to my kids and tell them, I'm not asking you to be Comorian and French only. I'm asking you to be the whole American French Comorian, but you can be all of it. And so yeah, so I know I don't want to take like all the time, and I need to stop because we can go on and on and on. But that's me, and I can come back for other stories.
Thank you so much. You are truly a cocktail of different nations. Oh my gosh. I feel sorry for your poor children. They have now multiple nationalities. But it is always challenging to parent and try and preserve a language and a culture when you're out of your environment. When I
Yes.
moved to New Zealand 21 years ago, I had a 12-year-old, 10-year-old, and 3-year-old. My older two kids could speak, they all could speak Shona fluently. But when we got here, I noticed that my little one stopped speaking Shona. So you can imagine this little black boy, he's the only one in his class. He doesn't want to be different. He's already different because of his skin. And he didn't want to have an accent. So he stopped speaking to me. And I remember calling my mother. I was very distressed about this. And she said I did the same thing when we moved to London when I was 3 years old. So we lived in the UK until I was 6. And children just don't want to be different. It's bad enough that they look different. And now they've got this accent. And my mom said, keep talking to him. He'll understand. So I could send him to get something, go and get me a glass of water, do me do this, do me do that. He would understand, but he would never answer back in Shona.
Yes.
And then when he was about 8 or 9, he came to me with a small little notebook and he said, Mom, I'm ready to speak your language now. Teach me. So when he was ready to embrace the language, it wasn't his language. So I have this son, black, chocolate brown skin, dreadlocks, Kiwi accent, doesn't sound African at all, but he learned, and it's an interesting process to bring up kids out of their environment. But it's also important to try and keep connected to those roots because that is really who they are, and it gives them a sense of identity and being. So thank you for reminding us today about our kids, and also that it's about us, not them. We are reacting to them. So we have to manage how we're being ourselves. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Miss Ruth.
Yes, thank you, Hadija. Thank you so much. And I was laughing when you were talking about your mom. Such confusion. Raising you up like a Comoros, but you couldn't speak the language. You were French. So in terms of then transitioning from the French, now your English is actually perfect with the accent, of course. But yeah, your English is now perfect. But what would you advise to immigrants or people that are migrating or in going into a new language country? For example, in English, moving into French or Dutch or German.
I mean, for me, it's the full immersion. Try not to stay with the group of people of your language. So for me, when I came to the state, my husband was already working here, and we had the French group of people. And I remember saying to my husband, for the first 6 months, I don't want to see them. I want to see American people. I want to speak English, because if I stay with them, I'm going to be in my comfort and my bubble of speaking French. I don't want that. I want to learn English quickly. So the first advice is try to separate yourself with your comfort zone. And which is the way I did it, was to apply to volunteer and work. So my first year, I had to wait for a work permit, paperwork, and all that, because it's under visa. But once I had the work permit, I immediately apply for. And I guess the thing is not to be scared of starting over. So even though I had a business degree from France, I could do business work anywhere. But if you don't speak the language, you go basic.
Yeah.
So I was going retail. I went to a retail and I start putting my application. I just wanted to do a work to be expose myself. So it's just not hesitate to expose yourself to learn as much as you can the culture. But for me, I already have the love of those things. Like I love learning, I love discovering. So I was completely comfortable of putting myself out there and knowing that that's how I'm going to grow. I don't know even why I had that in me, but I just know I need to volunteer, I need to work. And I could volunteer a little bit before I start working. So that would
Okay.
be the advice.
Okay.
Dr. Sumbo, you're back with us. She's there? Yeah. You
Yeah,
want to
she's there.
unmute? Okay.
Yes. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah. For thank you so much. I think I will start with Tiffany. Um,
Yes.
Tiffany, thank you so much for sharing your story before. It was really interesting to have all the A's and you tell the story accordingly in terms of how you progress from that. Just want to say, accept my condolences about your mom, and keep holding on those cherished memories of her. I think she's done an amazing job, to be who you are today, and you've known her for a few years. Just the passion, the determination of a person. She's done really well, and thank you for prioritizing your self care because we can't give what we don't have. We need to give ourselves the time to put in ourselves what we then, out of the overflow of it, we give to other people. Because oftentimes we began to go into deficit by digging into I guess, the capital, resource of ourselves. So instead of giving out of the overflow, we begin to go into the capital, and when we deplete that, we know that we are running on deficit. So it's really, really good that you prioritize your self-care and you're ready to fire on now. So, and I like your Gertrude, your analogy about the bow and arrow, that sometimes you have to pull really far to actually get the momentum to then go harder at the next time. So thank you. To Adija, thank you for sharing your story about, you know, what's the word, the mixture of cultures and the challenges that can entail from living in two different worlds. And for most of us raising children in different countries, it's a constant battle, it's a challenge. But like you said, it's really giving them that opportunity to be who they are, embrace everything they dare to embrace, and to question, some of the things that we impose in. Where is that coming from? Who is it about? Is it about them? Is it about us? And then coming to that place of, I guess, finding that place of peace within ourselves, that we're doing our best. They're gonna be who they are, and they're gonna be fine. So thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Tiffany.
Um, I loved the conversation for so many reasons. One, as an American, I've always my family and people always used to wonder why all my friends had accents, why all the men I dated had accents. They were like, "Do you even like Americans?" Right? I've been a very cultural person, and when I engage in cultures, I study them. I like to learn like the nuances of them. Like I'm not a linguist, so I don't speak a whole bunch of languages, but because I started out young with that and I travel all over the world, right? I always want to see what it's like to merge. So I'm constantly having a merging experience, not to the level that you did, but it just helped me to appreciate the thoughts and the things that come up when you're trying to hold on to who you are, but still grow into who you will be. And
Yes.
so I put notes down because what came first was you were talking about the identity, which is the hugest thing, the struggle with culture, and environment and tradition and evolution, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
like you you seem to have graced it very well because you allowed your spirit to show through this as no, but I want to be no, I want to experience it. Like that to me, I think is probably one of the best tools that you had in your personal toolbox, the curiosity. And you went about defining what it looked like for yourself, and that's really really important. You chose, like
yes,
you really made a choice. And I think too many people don't realize that we literally can make choices.
yes,
Sometimes they're hard choices, but we can choose different and have different outcomes than what people tell us or what they expect us to have. And that you have the grace and the blessing of having a dual culture and a dual existence and a dual language. Um, for me, any person who can be immersed in more than one place and thrive, it's a grace because everybody can't do it, but it also is an expansion. Your world will be imminently and has been imminently bigger because you had that experience, and the fact that you've allowed yourself the grace and you took good advice about raising your children will enjoy the same kind of freedom if they choose in
yes.
order to have that life. So thank you for sharing your story, and it was very
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you know, Tiffany, the title of my chapter is The Power of Choice. That's it. Just
That's
so,
it. That's
because
it.
it's the choosing, and I'm talking about identity there, and the fact that I, like you said, I choose what I define the things that I wanted to do for me. So I appreciate how it resonates. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Wow. What a beautiful end to yet another amazing day. Just
Wow.
incredible. Thank you so much, ladies, everybody who was here before, for gracing us with all of your amazing contributions and stories. We've got a couple of comments coming from Facebook. Comfort, it's good to see you there. Comfort has just said it's a lovely, loving the conversation. Liza has also saying thank you, thank you, thank you. We had Sole, I
Soleil.
think. Yeah, Sole was coming. I'm not sure which country Sole is coming from, but she says she's back, which is good. Good to have you back in the fold. But thank you, ladies.
Is Angela back?
Oh, is Angela back? She said she had to go for a meeting. Oh, yeah, there she is. There's Ada. She's
Okay,
like, yes,
I,
I'm
I
still
have to
here.
confess. I have to confess something. There's something that I think this is because I because of the time zone difference and all sorts of things, or maybe lack of sleep too. I made a mistake. Okay, when I was about to enter the Zoom room, that I realized it's on the because it's supposed to be an American, in US timing, which is
Okay.
we are ahead. Singapore is ahead of US like 15 or 16 hours ahead.
Yeah.
So I always remember in terms of 12 December, which is in Singapore now, 12 December in Singapore. So I thought in terms of, you know, then when I entered the Zoom, then I realized there's this, they have this date and the time. Then I just noticed,
Yes.
oh, it's supposed to be 7 a.m. on the 13th of December, which is tomorrow Singapore time. So it's my to say I guess because number one, the difference in time zone, I got to flip the switch, because
Yeah, well, it's good
I'm
to
not
have you
That's
only,
my
back.
life.
yeah,
That's
I'm
my
not
life.
only, yeah, I'm not only dealing with US time. Sometimes, when in meetings with my mentors or different, groups, I realize that I get mixed up with the, PST, Pacific time, Eastern time. Like last week, I
Yes.
missed the meeting. Last week, I totally missed the meeting. Thank God this week they have it. But then I realized it's actually Monday Singapore time. It's actually on Monday Singapore, but it's actually Sunday in US. Then so sorry. It is, I think this is one of the things is, being maybe just having 2 hours of sleep, I guess. And the
You
main
need to
thing is
sleep.
the No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm used to it, because I'm still wide awake. You know, I guess my time, I realize because I'm introvert, maybe also, I realize my my focus time, the best time I can work is actually middle of the night, where it's actually not very good for most of the time because I'm still kind of doing some other projects, to make ends meet. So it's like I have to rotate between that. So sorry, ladies, I
It's a
I got
comment from
mixed up.
Facebook there.
Last week I got mixed up. It's supposed to be Eastern time. Then I look at because I have another timing workshop with our mentor. Our mentor is Joe Bauer. So I have many mentors. It's crazy. So the thing is that when we have our workshop, I remember in terms of Pacific time. Pacific time, Eastern time is different. So last week I missed this Zoom meeting because I thought it's 10 a.m. Singapore time. Then then when I look at the Zoom, oh my gosh, it's over at 7 a.m. So sorry, ladies.
It's okay. You're not the only one. There's heaps of comments coming from
Different times
Facebook.
don't really make me crazy at times.
So we were just about to finish the day. I was
It's
just
okay.
saying
It's
thank
okay.
you to everyone. I don't know if you want to contribute anything to the last presenter, Angela, before we go.
Okay, yeah, just to share a bit, your English is very, what I understand is, when you came to, or when you went to US, English is not your language, but you speak very well. So, I'm
Thank
proud of
you.
you. You really speak very well. So I also remember the part when you say you're trying to immerse yourself in the community of, the actual authentic, US citizens instead of just gathering among your group. So it's a very good step, very brave step. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Angela. Good
It's
to get you
okay. Just want
back
to say
for the
hi, and
last few
I'm
words.
human.
But thank you to
So
everybody
it's
who
okay to make
contributed
mistake of
today.
different time zone.
Like Selena said, we are weaving a tapestry of these beautiful stories. And I can just see us looking back 5, 10 years from now. And we'll say, hey, girls, do you remember when this thing was starting? And we were waking up at different times of the day and missing appointments.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it's an honor to have you all grace our platform, our stage virtually. I can't wait until we can have a physical meeting one of these days
great.
and bring
Yeah,
the whole
that's
community
awesome.
together. It will happen soon, I'm pretty sure. But
So
we will
when
be
is
back
it? Yeah.
again tomorrow, same
Okay.
time, 7 a.m. New Zealand time, Angela. But have a
Okay.
fantastic day, everybody, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you. Thank you. See you,
Thank you
ladies.
so
Be
much,
well.
Gertrude. This was just such an unexpected, beautiful day. So thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
Thank
Ladies, stay for
you.
a while. We'll just share a small commercial to encourage more people to step up and speak. But I would love to talk to you for a few minutes before you go.
Thank you.